Well, well, well. It's a special surprise Heathen Drive-By. I'm Johnny Drive-By, and today, Lady Unicorn has stopped by. She's a good friend of mine, and we're going to chit-chat. I don't know about what, so she's got to figure it out. How you doing, lady?
I'm good. I'm good.
So what are we going to chat about?
Things. Is everybody even going to be watching, I wonder?
Things? Nobody's watching right now. Who cares? Nobody's watching. Take your pants off. You can do the whole stream.
Nobody would see if I did that anyway. I don't have the camera on.
But you know you're doing it. So that's the beauty of it, you know. It's like you know what? Maybe I'll do it with my pants on.
Gonna tell the whole world about that, huh?
Well, maybe I will. Maybe I won't. You gotta figure. Well,
never know. Nah. I think what you were referring to earlier that you were talking about was probably where I mentioned the consequences of all of these fights people have. Like,
yeah.
And going after extremists and acting like that's everything and what happens because of that.
Yeah, we always end up getting, calling each other names and, turning things into pejoratives that really didn't used to be a pejorative, or using it against them in a tribal way,
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I finally got that dirt back into my head, and I remembered what it was.
Yeah. And then people will do that, and then other people won't want to have anything to do with a certain label, or even when that fits, like just avoid identifying as whatever because it's just associated with all these bad things.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no discourse in there. There's no really debate at all. It's just nah. I am rubber. You are glue. That's basically
you're bad because you're part of this group of people, even if they don't really exist as a group.
The third letter in your name is a J? Well, I can't associate with you. I'm out of here.
There we go.
That's the low class.
That's the new group to hate on anybody who has a certain letter in their name.
Third letter. If the third letter is a J in their name, they are just despised and should be shunned by I don't know, all the rest of the atheist community, at least.
Oh no!
Join me. Oh, we got one viewer in there. I don't know who it is. I don't have the chat up. Do you got the chat up?
Yeah, I've got the chat up. Casey Atheist said, "Hey, Johnny."
They do it.
Yeah, I popped the chat out before we'd even actually had this live.
I don't know where it went now. I had it popped out, and then it went kaboof. And I still can't find it. And
good job.
What happened?
I said good job.
Oh, thanks. I don't know what I did.
Not being able to find it.
Well, I got to do something I'm good at.
Yeah. Yes, you got to be good at something, right?
Yeah, I got it. Chat's out. Rock out with your chat out.
Yeah.
And hey, why aren't we on the same circles in Google Plus or whatever?
I don't know. I barely even use it.
Yeah, I know. I can't remember really the last time that I used Google Plus. Maybe with Scientist Mel, when she was on or whatever. She's on Google Plus.
Except to point to something that happened on there, I haven't been on it in probably close to a year.
Yeah, not much at all. It's kind of.
Nobody uses it, so.
I know.
What's the point of social media that nobody uses? What's the point of getting on
it? Yeah. What about solipsistic media? Is there anything like that?
I don't know.
That'd be interesting, huh? It's kind of let's turn it around and turn it into solipsistic social. No, that's a oxymoron.
Anti-social media.
Anti-social solipsistic media corp. You're. Okay. And the best part about it is you can make it do what you want because you're in a solipsistic relationship with it. So suppose it depends upon if you're going hard solipsism or soft solipsism. I loaded 16 tons of granite today, and I didn't take it for granted.
Wow.
Well, it was only 2 tons. But I've been landscaping, and I will be putting out. I got a video coming out tonight and tomorrow morning. So, on the lowly atheist carpenter does landscaping adventures all over southern Minnesota. I just need a crew of like hot women to run the camera for me, and I'll be set. You know how many hot women are looking for camera jobs?
You need a crew of hot women to do it. They have to be hot women. They can't be anything else, huh?
Casey Atheist said forklift in slabs. No, it's field rock from my farm place that I grew up on. I'm just landscaping on the house down here, and that my home place is about 7 miles from my house, and I drove over there with the truck and loaded it up by hand. 3 loads already with a pickup truck as full as it could take. Three quarter ton axle. Oh, and I can tell you one thing. I feel every bit of 50 years old right now. But you know, how am I supposed to get those time-lapse videos for the atheist carpenter video? I mean, if anybody complains about how hard it is making YouTube videos, to me, they are going to rue the day.
What about complaining about how hard it is and how much time it takes just to put captions on them, apparently, because people are too lazy to do that? Well,
I mean, that's like another thing that we got to do now. I mean, I already got 556 at least.
Well, it depends on what it is. I don't think you'd really need captions on your time lapse.
Well, yeah, because I'm going to be doing different stuff on there too. I'm going to do like commentary on there. Well, you know,
it helps, but it really, I don't get why people don't want to put them on there when they're going to try to have a conversation about an important or serious topic.
Oh, yeah. You know, like I said, I enunciate so well that there's no way that it's going to misinterpret my shit.
All right, I'll take a look at your videos and see how much I can make.
Oh, no, and you will, won't you? Oh, my only critic. My best and only critic. I love you. You know, it's damn good talking to you again. It's been a long time since we've actually gotten down and talked.
Yeah. Well, I hadn't been doing anything for a little while, and then I spent almost a week out of town over in Indiana for somebody's renewal ceremony. They wanted me to take pictures, and that was something.
Pictures.
Yeah. And then now I've got my sibling here with me too, visiting for like a week. And trying to schedule everything around that. I've got like, you wanted this. I've got a stream with Ansgar on Sunday. I've got another freaking atheist wants to get me on now too. Oh, and Bad Tempered Badger and I may be having a conversation.
Casey Atheist said, I tell people not making content gives me a lot of free time. Yeah, it's amazing how that works.
Yeah, especially if you're not having to do something else instead.
Now another freaking atheist is going live in 30 minutes. I think Peter's still alive with his polyamory show, after show.
It seems like another freaking atheist is alive almost constantly, though.
Oh man, he was always in Twitter or whatever, but he started that calendar, and then right after that, he just went and did his video, did a live streams himself. I was like, oh, pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. He was saying on Cyrus's channel that he was telling people not to bother trying to avoid scheduling at the same time because there's more than enough people to watch all of it.
Like, how am I supposed to schedule my streams now? He's on every freaking minute of the day.
He is on every day at least.
Every hour, every other hour. If he's not doing his own, he's on somebody else. It's amazing. I love the guy, man. He's awesome.
Yeah, he seems pretty cool.
Yeah, you'd say it like that because like I've known him for a while now.
You don't even know where you were going with that, do you?
Yeah. See, he's got this really cute dog, and I'm a dog guy, and he showed it on Twitter, and then that's how I connected with the guy. Okay, because I love dogs.
Hey, animals are awesome in general.
Yeah, they are. I think they are. Unless they're, I don't know, unless they're trying to eat you, then they kind of, then you kind of have to go, well, you know, I wouldn't have done that to you.
You would if you were starving.
Hey, how you doing? I didn't even see him pop in there. Slipped right by me. My eyes.
Yeah, I guess that's also what happens when you get hold, huh?
You're gonna get it. You're gonna get it. You're gonna get it if you keep up that sassy attitude.
What am I gonna get?
I don't know. Probably, well, nothing for me. I mean, you're in Michigan or somewhere, aren't you?
Illinois.
Illinois. Yeah, it's a ways.
Yeah.
You're probably really close. You're probably really close to the Iowa, actually. He's in southern, yeah, right down. He can see. He says he can spit out his window into Illinois from Iowa. So
possible. I'm in southern Illinois, though.
Way down there.
Yep. And besides, what do you think? He's going to come after me? I haven't done this to him yet.
He'll never take me alive. Hey, there, you want to come in? They, the mysterious shadow of reason. What is the weather been like for you down there?
Getting hotter, which sucks in a trailer.
Oh, that was another thing. I had St. Louis freaking humidity today when I was working too. It was like,
fun.
No, well, it was all right. It's for a good cause. Hey, this is how it started. I go, you know what I'm gonna do for Mother's Day? I'm gonna get her a couple shrubs, and then you start digging the shrubs out, and it's like, you know, the erosion's been really bad here. I should, like, you know, just put a little wall up. Pretty soon I have, you'll see. I did the entire, I don't know, I want to say 200 square feet of landscaping with the pickaxe and everything like that. And one video I was using the pickaxe on there, but yeah, I carved that whole freaking hillside out. And that, so yeah, what a loving son I am.
That's nice of you.
But it's also for the video, so it's not for all.
Oh, so you had a selfish reason too.
What was that?
You had a selfish reason too.
Past people, I'm not sure he understands.
Because I said fun and you go, not really.
I got two sons. Sorry, I'm paying attention here. Look, a distraction.
Good to see me active, huh? Well, you'll be seeing a bit more of that in the near future, probably. As I mentioned a little bit ago, I have a stream on Sunday as well with Ansgar.
Yeah, I've only chatted with him a couple times on Twitter. We talked about even doing something together, a collab or something, but never. Then he kind of faded out and didn't do anything for a while. But now he's waiting for his computer to come back, isn't he, or something like that?
No, he got his computer back. We couldn't even.
Oh, he's got it back. Awesome.
Well, he got a new one. We couldn't even schedule the stream until he had a computer again.
Yeah. Mediocrity's maze. How you doing, bud? Hey, here's a question for everybody. What song should I cover for the next Below the Atheist Carpenter? I gotta figure out what song to do. I can't even think of one. I'm running. I was thinking of doing one of my own, but I don't think I'd rather do another cover. What do you think, lady?
I don't know. Thank S? Who's S?
I sent an invite to you, they, by the way. Mediocrity maze.
I still want to know who S is.
S?
Good, thank S.
Diary of a Madman.
Thanks.
Mr. Crowley. Diary of a Madman. Yeah. That would be a good one. Don't play it now though, because they'll demonetize my demonetized stream.
They can't demonetize you. You don't even have 1,000 subs to monetize in the first place.
Don't you understand a play on words? Come on. Come on, get with it. You're falling behind here.
They already demonetized you completely.
I know. You can't get any lower than whale shit, can you? Shit.
Oh.
I can only go up from here.
No, you can stay on the same level and just move around. No, yeah. You know how I took clips from that last stream and posted it on my channel?
Yeah.
Well, that poll I put in there, last time I checked, had only gotten 3 answers, and all of them thought that demonetized meant that you made no money whatsoever.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Well, YouTube does it was the thing between YouTube and Google, I suppose, when they merged or whatever, that everything, all their blah, blah, blah instructions and all that kind of got tossed to the side. Nobody knew how to do anything.
Yeah.
They're vague on a lot of things, and yeah.
There's been a lot of a mess, but at the same time, before that, nobody was making money off the site at all.
Yeah.
Hello, hello.
Hey, how you doing, mate?
I'm great. How are you, Johnny?
Just dandy. I feel a little bit, well, what is that? You load 16 tons, and what do you get? A little bit older and deeper in debt. That's what I feel like today. Only loaded 2 tons, though.
Only 2?
Only 2. I didn't want to wear the truck out.
When are you going to get the reptilians working for you, buddy?
Yeah, no doubt, huh?
So, Lady Unicorn, I don't know you.
Okay, hi.
Hi. This is Lady Unicorn. This is they.
Yep. Hi,
Have you ever seen this channel?
Say again, Johnny?
I said I asked if Lady's ever seen your channel.
No, I haven't.
You'll love it. He does some good stuff on there.
Cool. I'll check it out.
Do you have any content, Lady?
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out as well.
Okay, thank you.
So what kind of content do you do?
Mostly I mostly started out trying to fix the whole conversation where people were not just basically talking past each other on certain topics or generalizing and assuming things. I've tried to go in on some of them and get the actual information out. I've done a couple things to do with laws or law-based situations, not that I'm an expert or anything, and just researched that. My last one was completely unrelated to any of it, though, just trying to get people to put captions on their videos. So.
Well, that's pretty cool. Like, any subjects in particular that you're trying to get people to move past generalizations on, or?
Basically anything I even hold any opinion on that ends up in that whole SJW and anti-SJW nonsense.
Oh.
The live stream that I'm going to be on, that we're going to have, me and Ansgar are going to have on Sunday, actually has to do with censorship and has to do with a place where we disagree. And for once, it's not a matter of one person or the other insisting that something absolutely extreme like free speech can't apply to X, Y, or Z at all, or else that if you don't believe in everything being free 100%, then you don't believe in the concept at all, which I usually see both of those things. But we're going to be talking about something a little more nuanced in that topic.
I'll be right back. I left my beer in the truck. I need to have a beer because I got a lot of dust in my throat right now.
Shouldn't be drinking in your truck anyway. Don't need to drink and drive.
I'm not drinking in the truck. I was drinking while I was throwing rocks. I could have broke a leg. Talk you later. I'll be right back.
Okay.
It's a really interesting. I'll definitely have to tune into that stream. Actually, I've been getting into a couple of little scraps lately and in some live streams in the chat because of the way that people generalize and just the way they the way they make sweeping generalizations based on age, or the one that's been seems like the last couple of days is, well, I'm Generation X, I'm Generation Y, and I'm a millennial. It's like, that doesn't matter. I mean, everybody should be judged on an individual basis.
Yeah, well, I can kind of understand why somebody would bother pointing out some of the generation things, because people already make the assumptions. Like, I could understand trying to counter it, but it doesn't actually make a difference to points or anything now. It's just, who cares what year you were born? You can still know things.
Yeah, or not.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I a couple of YouTubers that I like have gotten into these points lately, and I'm like, I don't know. They're kind of more in the atheist side of YouTube, and I find a lot more open-mindedness in general on that side. But I don't know. It just seems like the last couple of days people have been very cliquish. And it kind of reminds me of when YouTube atheism and skepticism kind of went south. I don't know if you remember.
Probably about the time I started leaving certain channels, yeah.
Yeah, it just seemed like the only reason that a lot of these live streams come together is, that there are people with a common denominator. That doesn't make them all the same. And, they seem to just kind of branch off into their own little cliques. And I don't know. I think it's crappy behavior. So I'm definitely interested to listen to your stream.
Well, thanks. But yeah, I don't mind people like forming little groups where they feel more at home together or whatever. It's just, it does tend to have so many generalizations and so many assumptions people make, and then just that shuts down the conversation instead of actually promoting a useful one.
Yeah, exactly. I'm right there with you on that.
I mean, back a few years ago when the whole thing with the atheists starting to switch topics, that's a big part of what I was talking about with the anti-SJW and SJW stuff, is that's the fight that split off a lot of it. And yeah. I had to leave several channels because it was to the point where their fan base was more what the root word would actually mean. They were fanatics. They weren't just people who enjoyed the content, but they just, as soon as the topics shifted and I could see clear problems, like I could see people who were mocking something, that they were generalizing, they were basically targeting a straw man, because they might have been right on what that particular person said, but then they were taking it and applying it to a broad spectrum of ideas. And I'd try to point it out, and I'd just get jumped on by a whole bunch of people because I wasn't backing up what this person said. And it's just, there were a whole bunch of channels that did that, and I just couldn't deal with it anymore. So for a long time, I wasn't even, like, I don't know how long it took before I started actually giving people who were touching those topics a serious chance again. Just because there was so much of that nonsense that was all I was seeing from the people I'd been subscribed to when they did that. So.
Yeah, that's it's actually for those reasons that my channel is the way it is. My channel is pure skepticism, and I tackle conspiracy theories. I don't really get into any politics or anything like that.
Yeah.
Politics sucks.
Well, I ended up navigating to a lot of that, even though it's not necessarily what interests me the most, just because it didn't have that same kind of problem. It didn't have people just getting to the point where you couldn't even say anything in most of them. Whereas the ones that shifted topics frequently did.
So, where exactly are you falling in your? You said you're kind of tackling the SJW, anti-SJW thing. What is it exactly that you're doing there? Just curious.
Well, it's not even just necessarily that I'm tackling either specifically. It's just where I can see some very clear misunderstandings as far as what's meant, or something being used in a way that completely... Well, okay, like I did a video that was discussing safe spaces, because that's one that's actually been hit like that. And you've got basically two different meanings of this term now. You've got the people who are actually talking about, groups that, like, the mentally ill, or women, or minorities, or whatever. And they're talking about a place that's actually safe for them to come out and talk about their experiences, whether that's a gay bar or a therapist's office or anything. And then you've got people who had no idea the term existed until they heard about some college campus where people were going in a room to color in coloring books and watch videos of dogs, and who think that that is all the term means. So then you've got people who are mocking that idea, and they wind up mocking it to somebody who's meaning something completely different.
I see. I hate to be rude. I need to duck out for like maybe 5-10 minutes. I've got to take a phone call, but I will be right back.
All right.
Well, so I was thinking about. I'm getting nostalgic here now.
Oh yeah.
When we the first time I ever talked to you, it was like between Paulogia and Godless Cranium's channels or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
I remember you actually asking me to come say if I had anything on one of your videos.
Come see my channel. You're the only one that watched my channel ever.
It's hard to get a channel up from nothing.
Yeah.
It's hard to get a channel up from a few dozen. I didn't ever have the nothing because people were subscribing to me before I'd ever put any content out.
Yeah, I had like 2 videos on my thing for a while, and people would randomly come and subscribe to my channel for some reason.
Yeah.
Probably people I just don't know what the subscribe button's all about yet.
Well, like I said, I had people subscribe to me before I had anything. So some of them subscribed back when it still had the option to show in your feed videos that people had liked. So it could have been that too.
Yeah, could have been.
Nice pool table.
Yeah. Here. The room's kind of a mess, actually.
Yeah, I've definitely seen worse.
Yeah, I got a couple things a couple projects going on at the same time.
Yeah.
Want to see some trick shots?
Up to you. I don't know what to talk about or do right now. I do see you didn't decide to try to stream naked, though, since you wound up back on video.
Well, see, now the camera's off. Now you don't know if I've got pants on or not. Nobody does but me. But there's a good chance. There's a good chance that I do have pants on.
Yeah.
Maybe I should put that up as a poll on the stream. Did I do the stream with my pants off?
Well,
Obviously,
you didn't do the whole stream with your pants off because they were visible while the camera was on there.
Well, who's those two kids that did that song "Jump, Jump" or whatever? And they wear their clothes backwards or whatever.
I have no idea.
You don't remember them? You don't remember them?
I don't remember that at all.
That's right. You're young, aren't you? How old are you? 40? 30 something?
Wow. Nope.
20?
Not even 30 yet.
You're not even 30? Yeah, see?
I'll turn 30 this month.
You want to come in, D-Man?
Oh, God. Oh, I quit paying attention to the chat.
I quit paying attention to the chat?
I hadn't paid attention to it. I didn't even know the converted man was in there.
Crisscross, that's who it was. You gotta jump. Remember they wore their clothes backwards? How do you know I don't have my clothes on backwards?
I never said you don't have one backwards. I said you had pants on.
I know. I'm just trying to be all like theisty, apologetic-y or something. How do you know? Deacon Verman says you're my favorite unicorn.
I see this.
You're paying attention now.
You can prove my not God?
Yeah. You can prove my not God.
Oh, now I'm getting Hank Green's song stuck in my head because he did a song that involved only, I think it was 10 words, and most of it has to do with just I think I know or you don't know, or just like I know and you know, and yeah. So all those
not prove. All right, what's up with the semantics here? Okay.
What's up with the wrong form of your?
Oh, there she is. Yeah. There's Lady Unicorn.
Okay, I've made no secret that I'm very critical.
I know you are. That is what I loved about you. Hypercritical. That's a word.
It is. It actually does exist.
Yeah, I suppose you looked it up.
And the weird thing is, even though the prefixes are exact opposite, it would be possible for somebody to be both hypercritical and hypocritical at the same time.
Fuck, that's my middle name.
Which one is that? Hypercritical?
Both of them together.
So you should change your name to the hypercritical hypocrite?
Yeah, with a dash of philosophy. I don't know.
Actually, maybe it should be the hypercritical heretic.
Indeed, that would make it would make sense anyway. And don't forget naturalist.
Yeah, without a doubt. Sorry about the interruption. My life goes on hold when my daughter calls, so.
Oh, no worries.
What a miss.
It's all good.
Besides us talking about the words hypercritical and hypocritical and deconverted man using the wrong form of your, which brought that up because I had to point it out.
You'll just have to go back and listen to the stream.
No
later.
cop is going to say that that form of your is going to jail.
I feel like things have spiraled out of control in my absence.
Well, we still got the yolk in the hand, but
Deconverted
it's
Red's
jerking
just
us.
talking about if somebody had the middle name of fuck. That is apparently what's going on in the chat. An imaginary conversation with between somebody whose middle name is fuck and a cop.
This is very imaginative, really. Either that or a strong sign of a deeper problem.
Or both.
Or both.
Well, is it pretty hot down there in the southwest?
Oh yeah, we had a little bit of a cold spell today. It only got to 101.
Damn.
Believe it or not, that is a cold spell.
I don't know how to survive if it was getting up to that gear. Because I'm in a trailer, so the sun just bakes the whole thing.
Oh geez.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be rough here. During late July and August, 120 is not that unusual.
Wow.
But you kind of get used to it.
I
And
suppose.
like people say, it is a dry heat,
That helps.
And
Yeah, I would have taken that over the humidity that I had today when I was tossing rocks around, man.
I'll bet, because you sweat and you never get dry.
St. Louis humidity here today, or Houston humidity.
Where is it that you live again, Johnny?
Up southern Minnesota.
Oh yeah,
Minnesota.
that's right. I've been there.
Have you?
I've basically been everywhere in the lower 48.
Yeah, I've been everywhere west of the Mississippi, and a straight shot to DC and back, and that's it for the east. I haven't been to Hawaii yet.
I have.
All over Alaska.
Oh, you suck. That's the one place I haven't gone.
Well, that's the opposite end of the United States, and the east, which is all of Alaska.
Yeah, I showed up in Duluth, and it was 52 degrees below zero. I had never experienced anything like that in my life, and I don't care to ever again.
Yeah, you never will. That had to be the wind chill, because that had to be a wind chill factor added in there. Usually the temperature right around the coldest that it gets, the record is embarrassed, Minnesota. I believe that was 60 below. That was an actual record temperature. It could have been an anomaly or something flaw in the reading too, but yeah, 69 below zero.
What is it? I mean, does it really matter? Anything below about 10 below, or actually, fuck, for me, anything below about 20 is all the same.
You when you get to 30 below, hypothermia, even with a few layers of good clothing on, can set in within half an hour if you sit still. Yeah.
I don't doubt it. Here it's the opposite. Believe it or not, here you can actually get a ticket if you get dehydrated.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not exactly a secret that it gets hot here.
When I was out in LA, I had to get used to being in that dry like that, because you're not used to sweating and drinking, and it's like, well, I haven't even sweated yet, but you're pretty much evaporating your sweat out of there.
Yeah, but even LA has humidity compared to where I'm at.
Yeah, it's dry there, isn't it?
I know I say Area 51 all the time, but I live pretty far east outskirts of Phoenix, Arizona.
Only been like in the airport in that area.
Oh, I'm sorry you had to go there.
It's actually a pretty cool airport, though. I like that little treadmill thing that runs around there.
Oh yeah, that's because the airport is what, 10 miles long?
It's like few football fields fit in there. I know that.
Well, it depends on which terminal you're in, but I mean, if you were to measure the whole damn thing out, it's pretty long.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I tried to jaunt from one turn, but run down those tracks. That was fun. I had fun as a kid in there.
Oh, you were a kid when you were out here?
No. If I was a kid going through there like that, I would have had a lot of fun on those tracks.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did they have planes back then?
Oh.
Motherfucker.
Couldn't help it. It was too easy.
Well, I mean, he didn't talk about how young I was and started guessing I was 10 years older than I am, so...
Well, that's not very nice, Johnny.
Well, you know, at my age, you know, the 10 years doesn't make that much of a difference. 10 years, like 3 days to me.
Come on now, Johnny. It's not that bad.
No, I'm doing pretty good for myself at my age.
Yeah.
I'm only 50.
Geez, I'm not that far away from you. That's why we're so disconnected.
And probably.
Chad is having a very different conversation. Mostly deconverted man was talking to himself.
Yeah, I've been watching that.
I haven't even paid attention for a while.
Looks like mediocrity's in the similar club there, Johnny.
Oh yeah. I think you told me that a while back.
Oh, you're a baby unicorn?
Apparently, I'm not even 30 yet.
Holy crap. You are a baby.
Yeah.
I'll turn 30 later this month.
Well, that's where life begins. Not really. I'm actually getting ready to turn 42, and believe it or not, that is not a picture of me.
I kind of figured that. I mean, when I first seen your channel, I probably thought that possibly could have been you, but then I'm like, wait a minute.
No. It's all part of my theme. It's
Yep.
You know, the X-Files guy, the smoking man.
Oh yeah.
And the ominous, faceless, nameless they.
Who's that character that Potholer has for his videos? Buster Keaton, isn't it?
I think so.
That's a picture of Buster Keaton. I drew that once or sketched it once. That's a cool avatar.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been doing some drawing lately. I got Mrs. Snarky to agree to do some voice acting on my channel.
Oh, cool.
So I know I keep talking about it, but The Adventures of Agent 42 will come. It's just a lot of work because it's all animated and it's all by hand.
Ah.
What was that long sigh, lady?
just continuing to read the chat and trying not to keep saying it.
No, go ahead. Comment.
No. I'm trying not to keep saying it about deconverted man there. I mean, now apparently I have the Red King.
Okay.
He just keeps using the form of your that refers to belonging to you.
Well, it looks like he's got your number. Yeah, I mean, you got to give up at some point. You know, if people are, you know, if they willfully do something like that, then
I'm not even
never
sure
gonna
if
change
he's
your
doing
mind.
it intentionally, but
Yeah, of course.
he might be. He never did answer you about if he wanted to join either. That's how I knew he was even in the chat.
No. He said he was tired. He said he's tired. Man, I had to think about that.
I just didn't catch it.
Oh, let the sun beat. What was that song you sang? Diary of a Madman.
Diary of a Madman. It's just because I was listening to some old school Ozzy earlier today.
Cool.
So my choices on what was fresh in my head was either old school Ozzy or some Pink Floyd.
You know what? I'm thinking even Black Sabbath.
That'd be cool. Ooh, Rainbow. There you go. I would love to see you sing some Dio.
You know, for that one, what's her name? Thompson or whatever. I should do Fairies Wear Boots.
Fuck yeah. There you go. That's a great song.
Yeah, it is. And it's well, she claims that she saw something or whatever, that's why she believes. And it's like, well, this song's for you.
She saw something? Like she
claims that she heard the voice of God or whatever, you know, one of them kind of deals.
Who is this again?
She's on Twitter a lot or whatever, and Peter and You Gotta Go For It and all them guys kind of blah blah blah. She's been on Steve McRae's channel a couple times. Stephanie.
I was just saying, we're talking about SJ or
the Christian Apologist is her avatar name.
Oh,
she had that argument with Dillahunty on a while back on the Atheist Experience or whatever.
Yeah, she's special.
If you say so.
I've argued with that person a few times myself.
Oh yeah, she was on Deacon. She was on Deacon Verman. He was talking to Christian Response. They all got the same freaking names practically. Because there isn't much in religion that you can. There's not much diversity in religion, I guess.
I wonder whatever happened to that one person who actually used for their YouTube name included the word sophistry in it.
Are you? That's right, Deacon Verman. Are you going to be debating Stephanie? Christian Response, yeah. The Christian Apologist. I'm sorry, religion sucks. I'm sorry for everything that God's going to do.
That's where my mind goes all the time with that too. Like, it's funny to me that the word is apologist because I do picture apologizing rather than.
And that's basically what they're doing. I'm sorry that you just can't accept this shit.
Well, that does seem to be what they do, but like sarcastically, like. I'm sorry you suck too much to understand what we think we know.
I'm sorry you don't know God's real meaning.
Yeah.
How can you know God's real meaning? He's just beyond us.
I'm with you. It is a strange sounding word for the meaning. And yeah, I'm right there with both of you because it actually sounds exactly like that in my head as well.
But the words actually both come from the same root word. They actually both come from that.
Not exclusively for theists. I mean, you could be an atheist apologist too.
Yeah, but apologist and apologize come from the same root.
Exactly, yeah. From called Apology, isn't it the name of the town?
Well,
I hadn't heard that.
I thought it was Apology.
A town called Apology, and
let's see if there even is a town.
There's in Greece. There's a town in Greece that's named that Apology is named after that. That's where it comes from. Maybe somebody in the chat knows.
Maybe because I am not finding it.
So he'll be doing informal debate. Mid-18th century.
I'm not finding anything about a town, just other things to do with the root.
There's a definition. It's reasoned arguments or writings in justification of something, typically a theory or religious doctrine.
Yeah.
Free market apologetics, origin and mid-18th century from apologetic.
Mm-hmm. I was saying I wasn't finding anything about the town that you were talking about. I was just
reading it for the four viewers.
Yeah.
An informal debate explaining miracles. Well, that That is going to be fantastic.
What do you think, Xanadu? Would that be a great song to play from Olivia Newton-John through that then?
Oh, I have no idea on that one.
I don't know why that popped into my head, but I was thinking of Olivia Newton-John with a skirt and roller skates for some reason. I don't know why.
that might be from something else there, Johnny.
Oh yeah, now I'm thinking of another song. Let's Get Physical. It's been too long, I guess.
I guess so.
I better. That's right. Her husband disappeared for a few years, and they thought he was dead, and then he came back. All of a sudden, popped up again. Very strange.
And Mediocrity's Maze says, "I call them Christianity's mental gymnastics that never won the bronze." It's pretty awesome.
They're curling without sweepers,
right?
I don't know. You got to know what curling is to get that one, I guess.
Well, yeah. I mean,
poor apologists getting picked on by all of us.
Yeah, let's get an apologist in here so we can just pick on him.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Yeah. I might be able to find one on Twitter quick here.
See now, Johnny, you always have these really awesome hangouts. Your hangouts are my favorite ones because they're always just friendly hangouts. They don't get like overly dirty or overly argumentative or anything.
Yeah,
but it might be kind of fun to get some good old fashioned anger in here, you know.
Well, that's what I want. I live for that, man. Yeah, no, I hear you.
All you got to do is get some. I mean, honestly, the equation would work really great like this. Get Caitlin Clow or Godless Engineer in here and a zealot. Doesn't matter what they're a zealot of. Just get them in here and put those two together and just watch the fireworks.
That's a good idea.
And Caitlin Clow is all about being on small channels, and so is Godless Engineer. I mean, they were on Another Freaking Atheist last night.
Yep.
So that's all it takes. And I mean, you'll get a ton of views.
Yeah, a lot of people like watching that kind of stuff.
Oh my God. I think honestly, one of my favorite moments on the internet was RN Ra versus Kent Hovind. But honestly, right behind that was when Godless Engineering Caitlin Clow went after the white engine. Oh my God, I was dying. Did you guys catch that one?
I didn't catch it, but
oh, it was hilarious. It was pure vitriol. It was awesome. It was completely unfiltered, beautiful.
Vitriol.
Yeah.
Well, the honest truth is the guy deserved the shit out of it.
No, that one Indian, I've seen him in comments so many times. I remember one time I made a comment to him, and then I was like, whatever, and I actually apologized to him later. And it's like, yeah, but why?
Yeah.
Yeah. That whole circle of those guys are just they all have that same kind of mentality. Like, I don't know. Is it a hate of atheists? I think that's what it is. Like and Stephanie's kind of on that little level there too, because she hangs with those guys a little bit.
Oh, I think that a lot of it is when you have a belief, it's really important to not let that belief be challenged because beliefs are weak by their nature.
Yeah.
So when somebody challenges a belief, it actually, it deconstructs their reality, and they just can't let that happen. So they get extremely defensive, extremely fast.
Yeah. And it's like the simpler things that you do that for such simple things. That's when you don't realize you're doing it. But it seems like it progresses with some people a little bit more or whatever, that they get more and more out there with their beliefs. Yeah. Hard to figure out.
Well, I think that it's kind of a good test of a person, because realistically, when someone has their beliefs challenged, if they can rise to meet the challenge without acting like an asshole, then at least means they're open-minded enough to listen to the other side, whether they agree or not. But people like the White Engine, and me personally, I don't really particularly care for the guy either, but he's the type to do like drive-by commenting, and he doesn't like, he just likes to whip up anger and then not answer for it, and like anytime you challenge his beliefs, he gets personal.
Yep.
And I find that with a lot of people, with beliefs, whether it be religious or conspiracy, flat earthers are a perfect example of that.
Yeah, well, the thing though, when you're talking about rising to the challenge without becoming an asshole, it does somewhat depend on how the other person who started it is, though, because
good point.
Like it's one thing to expect that when somebody's just, civilly disagreeing or pointing out a problem. It's another when the other person is starting out attacking, or when all you've ever seen when somebody counters you is attacks.
Sure. Yeah, you're right. I don't know. I try, like, before I debunk anybody's videos, I usually get into their comment section, and there have been some really wacky things that I've found that I went into their comment section, and they were very genuinely nice people, and I decided not to debunk them, because I'm sure when you go to watch my videos, you'll see that I'm pretty sarcastic. And when I get met with I don't know, just crappy closed-minded attitudes, that's when I decide to go after people. So I kind of take it from my own perspective, where I typically approach people polite and open-minded at first, but I can become just as shitty as anyone else.
Yeah, it's understandable. I was just where my mind went as soon as you pointed that out, because I've seen, especially on certain topics, I've seen a lot of just vitriol in general, to the point where it'll just start out that way, or even if it doesn't, somebody could be isolated to where they just haven't seen others actually be civil, and then will perceive something in a way it's not intended.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Atheistic beliefs? Who said that, Mediocrities Mace? Was that me?
Paul Willis-Org was saying something about quantum biology challenging atheistic beliefs.
Oh boy, I have not the slightest fucking clue what quantum biology is.
No, I've heard of quantum physics, but I don't know what quantum biology is supposed to be.
Yeah,
I have a little bit of study into quantum physics, but I have no idea what quantum biology is. Is that? God, I hope that's not woo.
Probably is, but perhaps they can explain it.
Yeah, I would love to hear that explanation.
Yeah. We're all waiting. Oh, goody. Yeah, you were saying get blood in here, an apologetic?
Yeah, I mean, why not? Believe it or not, that was, again, pure sarcasm on my part. If we did get somebody with a differing opinion in here, I would love to just talk.
Sure.
Definitely. That's what I do all the time. So, and maybe it's because I didn't ever have any belief, or that makes me, I don't confront them as much or get as pissy at them, I guess.
Well, Johnny, you're also extremely friendly, and your disposition makes it very easy to talk on your channel.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Plus, you can handle a lot, so all of my constant criticism isn't even an issue.
You're a contrarian. I am.
I won't deny it.
You're a contrarian, and I just accept it.
So he says, atheist beliefs are mechanomorphism. Everything is a machine. It's not woo. Very strong evidence. Quantum mech is utilized in photosynthesis. I guess the European. What do you guys know what he's talking about?
No, I'm also not sure what
Uranus.
I'm not even sure what quantum mech is supposed to be.
I think he's talking about the mechanomorphism that he referenced in his prior comment. This is a 100% unfamiliar topic for me.
Same.
Quantum biology. What?
Yeah.
Well, now, Paul, if you wouldn't mind going just maybe face value into what quantum biology is. Okay, I understand what tunneling and entanglement are, but I don't understand what that has to do with biology.
Yeah.
Tunneling? What? What's that?
Quantum tunneling? It's when particles can actually move through space and appear in a different space without actually having traveled there.
Yeah, okay, I get it. So what's it, Heisenberg, Heisenberg displacement or whatever, blah, blah, blah.
You know what? Mediocrity, I am right there with you. Atheism is literally a lack of belief in a god or gods, and it can be expanded out to be even more than that, but it's pretty typically just a lack of belief that does not require necessarily justification or belief.
It also doesn't require that people don't believe in anything spiritual or supernatural. Somebody can be an atheist and still think souls exist. I'm not one of them, but it can exist.
No, it's not souls, it's gas.
Quantum biology is a field of study around takes advantage of quantum mechanics. Okay, no, now I'm actually interested to read this, Paul. I thank you for bringing this up. It's not something that I've heard of before, and I love to learn, so I'm going to go read about it. But I'm not going to open my mouth about it because I don't know fuck all about it.
Yeah. Can't really say much on a topic you don't know anything about yet.
Because I would be really interested to know what in the actual fuck quantum mechanics has to do with biology.
No, atheism is not a belief in an all-powerful ability of any kind. It's not belief that matter created its own self-awareness. It doesn't even require naturalism. Somebody can be an atheist and still believe in some kind of supernatural.
You know, Paul, I got to be honest with you. Something that drives people who are actual atheists insane is when people that are non-atheists try to define what atheism is to atheists. Just a little FYI.
Yeah, what's up with that, man? What's up with any of them trying to tell me what I think or what I believe?
It's exactly it. The truth is people tried to put a definition to it, but it's really just that simple. It's a lack of belief. Yeah. And I think that a lot of the problems that when people have a belief system, they approach atheism from their belief system rather than from where atheism actually stems from, which is a lack of belief.
Though, to be fair, somebody can sit there and define what a term you're using to describe yourself actually means, like, in some cases. This isn't one of them because he's not using an actual definition that is true. But if somebody claims, for example, that they're a feminist and that means they love dogs, somebody could rightfully point out, no, that's not what that means. And that's not telling them what they believe. I know, that was an absurd example.
I love that example.
Told you, she's a contrarian.
It's awesome. I love it.
How you doing? What's his name?
Jonathan.
Jonathan. Hey, how you doing? I can't. Wow,
And Snuffy.
Snuffy.
Snuffy Wolfie guys. Woo! How you doing, man?
And Snuffy is here for the angry rant.
Snuffy, you should come in here. I haven't talked to you for a long time either, man.
Get him in here. I need to refresh my beer anyway. I'll be right back.
I don't care if you're on your phone. Let's talk to the public. I'll try and send you a link, whether you like it or not, buddy.
Well, I mean, you can always just not click it.
I know. Well, that's just it, right? All right. He is officially invited. He's got to come in. He went over 100 subs a couple days ago. It's freaking
awesome. Congrats.
I saw it change to 100, and then I came back a little bit later. Then it was at 99. And I was like,
underviewed right now.
What was that?
Atheist Edge says this is criminally underviewed right now.
It was a spur of the moment kind of thing, and we haven't talked for a while, so we put it up. But yeah, I tried tweeting it out, and now we're getting more people in here.
There you go.
Plus, Peter was doing his stream with the polyamory thing, and how can you compete with that? How can you compete with that? You just can't.
Well, because that involves, people who like to have multiples and what's normally only one, so you don't have to compete. They should just magically put multiple streams together and manage to focus back and forth and listen. I don't know.
Get your mic, Stuffy. You don't need a mic. Everybody in the U.S. will hear you when you yell.
Wow.
That might have been worse than mine. Maybe. I'm not sure.
Well, I don't know, Johnny. I was on that. I was actually in the chat of the polyamory thing, and it wasn't really interesting enough to hold my attention. That's why I'm here.
Oh, wow.
Oh, they're still going?
They were. And believe it or not, that's another. You remember when I was talking earlier about how people started kind of grouping off into, I'm Generation Y, I'm Generation X.
Oh, yeah.
It was actually happening in that chat, and I was like, yeah, I don't really want this right now.
I don't really like identifying like our generation's this and our generation's that.
Just doesn't matter.
There he is, Stuffy.
Oh, hi.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Snuffy.
So, I'm going to be right back and grab myself another drink and stuff.
All right. I'll get another beer then.
Cool. Well, hey, Snuffy, I've never talked to you.
Uh-oh.
Hey, I've seen you in a couple of live streams. You're pretty cool.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I enjoy actually bantering back and forth with you.
So what's this bullshit about atheism being some belief in an all-powerful ability, some crap?
Is that still going on in there?
We were earlier trying to figure out. We were trying to figure out, this guy Paul Williams-Org was talking about quantum biology, and then he said that atheism is a belief in the seemingly all-powerful ability of a special arrangement of matter to create its own self-awareness, which to me sounds like abiogenesis apologetics.
Well, I mean, on one level, you could say atheism is an acknowledgement of the actual reality we observe. And we are conscious and made of matter. So while a total misleading bullshit statement, in a way, you could possibly twist that to be true.
Yeah, but I don't think that's a definition for atheism.
No, specifically not. That's just misleading. Well, because, of course, we have to try to change whatever definition.
Lack of belief in consciousness. Who is this guy? He's funny.
What the?
Lack of belief in consciousness. Okay.
Okay.
Right on.
Well, if we're like not conscious, then we're not talking, and you're not here either. So whatever.
I don't even know if belief is a word for it.
No, I'm actually really interested in the beginning of that statement. Machines and mechanisms were so fascinating that it leaked into philosophy and became a thought virus. God damn it, I wish I had chaosism in this chat.
Actually, that's something he likes to talk about, yes.
All of a sudden, I get back and I hear talk about bringing chaosism in, or wishing we could bring chaosism in.
You gotta have chaosism, man. This is be like old times here with everybody here.
Awesome.
Dude, you got to get him in, Johnny.
I'll try. I'll send him an invite.
There's no real matter at the base level. Okay, Paul, I'm calling you out right now. This is woo bullshit. And I got to be honest, if you keep going, I'm going to debunk you.
Yeah, because matter is specifically what we define it as. At the base level, I understand he's talking about, fields and matter basically being energy. But matter is what we define it as, and it contains everything within that definition.
Yeah, and the whole matter being energy thing, yes, in a way, but also no, not really in another.
Right. Once again, this is like woo-woo pseudoscience that is misleading on purpose.
Yeah. I kind of find it interesting that in such a tiny live stream that he's actually in here.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's a slow night on the internet.
I guess.
That was weird when a lady and I tried to set up the thing before. She couldn't get on, her mic wasn't working, then
Yeah, just all of a sudden it started working like 30 seconds to a minute after I changed the setting. Like if it had been immediate, I would have thought maybe it was changing that setting. Maybe it would have only recognized my mic as digital instead of analog. But it took it a little while before it registered it.
You haven't been spraying enough vinegar on the chemtrails. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, not enough vinegar,
That was almost a mess. I was taking a drink of water as you said that.
Matter is a function of space-time? Matter.
It's not a function of it, is it?
No, it cannot.
The result of it, maybe. Or a result.
It can't exist without space or time. However,
Jonathan keeps asking to join. Don't know if you've noticed that, but he keeps asking to join in.
Who did?
Jonathan, whatever. Jonathan Edward, Tony Ted. Keeps asking about in the chat.
I think I can say. Oh, yeah, that's right. He's on my DMs.
I don't know him. I just noticed he kept asking.
Oh, I wasn't paying attention to chat. Yeah, I'll let you in, John. Hold on.
Johnny.
What was that?
I said, fucking Johnny, you're the worst.
I am?
No, not really.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. What time is it, everybody? I feel like going to church tomorrow. You guys want to join me?
I would love to. I would love to. Can we drink? Can we get drunk before?
Why not, right?
I have so much trouble keeping my mouth shut when I wind up in a church.
Well, at least the alcohol will give you an excuse. You down, Snuffy? We're all going to church with Johnny.
I got nothing else to do. Why not?
So what flavor?
That'd be fun. That'd be fun.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to keep my mouth shut in church too. I understand that one.
Well, we gotta start. We gotta start out at the bar that's open at 6 o'clock in the morning and have a few Bloody Marys before we go there. I mean,
I just have to be careful because around where I am, too often I have to rely on churches for things.
Consciousness may actually be primary above space-time. Yeah, I need to see some citations for that.
Yeah.
I would actually like to see any citations, the math implying.
I sent the link in
Anything about
DM, Jonathan. Sorry, Snuffy. You're on now.
I was just pointing out that this Paul Wilson, he really needs to put forward citations if he's going to make claims about science and math and such.
I wonder, lady, you want to come in? Let's get everybody in here.
A quick
Hello.
Okay, how do all major world religions have a similar description of God? Like, you've got the Abrahamic three that have a similar one because they're basically the same religion, just at different stages. But if you look into things like Hinduism and that, there's not anything remotely similar.
No, Paul, they're not similar practices. That's insane. How in the fuck do you equate Buddhism and Abrahamic religions?
That's
explain
ridiculous.
I tell you what, George.
Perfect, Johnny.
If you look at his thing before then, all he said is things like pilgrimages, meditation, prayer, gratitude, singing, and changing. But couldn't you say that about literally everything?
Yeah, those are human traits, not religious traits. Once again, this is religion trying to take credit for normal human behavior.
And also,
what's next? Where do you get your morality from?
Rocks are atheists too.
Well,
yeah, because we've never heard that one.
I have a question for Paul. Explain to me the gods of Buddhism and the Abrahamic religion, and explain to me in Hindu specifically what Shiva relates to in any other practice of religion. And that's my question, and that's it. Just answer those.
Apparently he meant chanting, not changing, even though I looked back and it did say changing.
Bullshit. If you know anything about Shiva, this question cannot be answered.
I don't know anything about it. I was just reading off what he'd said.
Shiva is the end, the necessary end of all things created. Basically, the path to nothing.
Far out, man. Yeah, the path to nothing.
Yeah, it's actually kind of an interesting study, and the only reason I know it is because of one of the videos I had to debunk. My video when the guy was claiming that the Large Hadron Collider was opening portals to hell.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that. Yeah, you could tell that it was hell.
Well, yeah. And I even proved that they opened a portal to hell and let Pat Robertson out. Watch my video.
Yes, it's all pretty irrelevant to being an atheist, but I'm pretty used to that by now, maybe after these maze.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it doesn't need to be said again, but atheism is just a lack of belief in God claims. In my particular case, due to lack of evidence when really searching honestly.
Woo!
In my case, after trying very hard to make it real.
And regardless of all the pseudoscience, Paul, as soon as you or anyone else can show that a God exists, I won't be an atheist anymore, as well as most of the people I know who are also atheists.
Okay, Paul, pursuing truth does not mean that what you're saying actually relates to atheists or atheism as you tried to say originally. It just, I mean, yes, it could still be an interesting topic, it could still be a worthwhile topic, but it's still not going to be connected to...
Is Jonathan's mic working, or is he just making those faces because he's being silly? Your mic working, Jonathan?
Hey, what's up, y'all?
Hey.
What's up?
You're very red.
Like, are you trying to get my attention or what?
Dude, I'm just trying to wait my turn. I just don't want to interrupt.
Right on. Cool.
Eh.
But if I do get a turn, I would like a turn.
All right. You want to wear brass knuckles or a baseball bat with this guy?
Wow.
That was facetious, I hope.
So give me just a second here. I'm an atheist. I've been on YouTube since 2010. I only have about 400 subscribers. The problem is I don't really put out a lot of content. I do it impulsively here and there and everywhere, but I just want you to know today there was a knock on my door. And I opened the door and it was some Jehovah's Witnesses. And you know what? I know the stereotype is when you see those folks, you shut the door. But here's what I did. I said, cool. And I went outside and they were like, hey. And I was like, what's up? I know all about you guys. And I'm an atheist. And they looked at me like I was Satan. And I said, you know what? I want to sit down and talk with you guys. And they were like, what? And I said, look, I've read the Bible. And I understand that it's bullshit. And that being said, I know there's lots of different groups of Christians that think you guys are a cult. And I just want you to know that I think you and all the other people that hate you are all cults. And I'm okay with that. And we need to talk about Jehovah. And they were like, well, Jesus, I said, look, let's just start here. I see that you have a Bible in your hand and you have a tablet, which I assume has the Bible on it. Let's look up Matthew 27, 52 and 53. And they were like, what? And I said, come on, look up Matthew 27, 52 and 53. I said, it says that when Jesus died on the cross, dead people came out of the ground and they walked to Jerusalem and talked to people. And so the chick, like, she's on her tablet. She's like, I don't see anything about dead people. And I said, here. And I took dude's Bible and we turned to it and I read it to them. And they were like, well, are you saying that the God that could make the universe couldn't make this happen? And I said, you're asserting that your God even exists. But let me tell you something. Dead motherfuckers don't come out of the ground and walk nowhere. Just as much as nobody walks on fucking water. And they sure as hell don't turn water to wine. I've read the Bible. I've read the Quran. And I'm telling you, this stuff is ridiculous. And I'm not down with it. And you know what? I understand why you're knocking on doors and all that. But I got to tell you, we can talk about it all day. But I'm basically a simple Southern dude. And I'm all about realism. And, man, I've seen dead people. And that's just stupid. It's stupid. Yeah. And chick was like, oh, well, you don't believe in Satan? And I was like, no, why would I believe in Satan? I don't believe in God. She's like, that's your problem. You don't understand that Satan manipulates blah. And then the other dude was like, look at the trees in your yard. Where did the trees come from? I was like, fuck, dude, I don't know where the trees came from. They came from fucking seeds. I don't know. And he was like, well, God. I was like, look, dude, just because there's something that I don't understand doesn't mean that your God made it. I could sit here and say, all right, fine, there's a God. But prove to me it's your God. I mean, you still have a ways to go to prove your point. And then dude was like, the earth is so in the perfect point from the sun. If you moved it out, you're going to give me the Goldilocks thing, right? If it's too far out, it's cold. It's too far in, it's hot. I was like, look, dude, look at the earth. Do you want to live at the North Pole, the South Pole, the bottom of the ocean? There's way more areas of the earth you can't live than you can. Have you ever thought that maybe those areas have been like where humans have evolved from? Oh no, evolution's from the devil. I was like, all right. It's a scientific fact. All right. And it just is what it is. And dude's like, can we leave you a copy of the Watchtower? I was like, look, dude, you're just wasting paper. Not interested. But if you want to stick around, I said, if you want to stick around and talk some more, he's like, no, we're going to leave. And the chick was like, I feel sorry for you that you don't believe you're going to go to hell. I was like, why? Look, we can talk. Just stick around. And off they went down the street. And I got to tell you, I enjoyed the living shit out of that. It was a ton of fun, and I wish it could happen every damn day.
Yeah, we used to have Seventh-day Adventists come by my house when I first moved in, but for some reason they don't come around anymore.
Oh yeah, my biological.
I thought I was giving good conversation.
Yeah, my biological father was Seventh-day Adventist. I went to some of their churches. They're all about the end times. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, we can't let this Paul guy get galloping away here now. He's already got like 4 comments.
Oh, I wasn't even looking anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
This one I gotta answer though, because it's like I can't figure God could both be clearly evident and at the same time maintain most free will agency and the ability to freely choose good and evil. Well, you know what? Even if I knew he existed, I could still choose to whether I liked him or not. You know, duh. Guys.
Yeah, and I also see he brought up Jordan Peterson.
Oh, no wonder. Yeah, there's an intellectual powerhouse right there, isn't it?
I still don't get why people like that guy.
Wow. No, that I don't understand how he even got popular. He's just been a Christian apologist like in disguise the whole time.
Basically, he got popular lying about a piece of legislation in Canada in a way that seemed to confirm people's preconceived notions about various trans people and non-binary people and stuff. That's basically what it was. He started lying about a bill that, or not even a bill, but some kind of piece of legislation, some kind of legal thing that was going to expand protections to include trans people, protections that already existed, and he started freaking out about it and got people freaking out about it, and people who were already in that same camp. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I didn't really hear about him until he started doing like religious type debates and stuff, and I just thought he was just a rather dishonest apologist. He would do the whole like, you know, of course atheists can be good because they're acting like Christians, and he would always sneak in this little crap at the end of everything he said.
Yeah. He also loves redefining words.
Mm.
He's a good linguist or whatever you want to call it. Freaking
Somebody got him to explain what he meant by religion or religious or something, and his definition of it had nothing to do with what anybody else would be meaning when they say the word.
And I forgot who it was. Was it Dillahunty? He just
they had a little discussion.
Yeah, I think that was it opened a lot of people's eyes.
Yep.
When he started saying, "Oh, well, of course you're a skeptic. You know, that means you're a nihilist." And it was like, "Oh, well, you just went overboard there, buddy. You're done."
Yeah.
Hey, who's that pastor he's really popular right now on social media? He just cheated on his wife and threw her away. And
what you're talking about?
Yeah. Check it out. He lives like 2 miles from my house.
Go knock on his door and sell him some atheism.
You know what? Seriously, I'm thinking about going down to his church, man, and making a YouTube video like in his parking lot.
You know, I bet he'd buy it.
I may do it.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Hey, Clay.
I should put like a burning pentagram in his driveway.
I wouldn't endorse that personally, but it would be funny.
I know you wouldn't endorse it, but it would be funny.
Atheism must equal nihilism. If the universe is random, it is profoundly meaningless. No, not really.
All right, well, go cut on yourself and play some emo music, whatever. Okay.
Like, yeah, it's weird, man.
Not mine.
You get these people that are like, you know, what's the meaning of life if it doesn't go on forever?
You're fucking 5 more.
And it's like, so I mean, you go on vacation. It doesn't last forever. You enjoy that shit.
Apologetics is like a freaking chatty Cathy doll. You get like 7 or 8 sayings. That's it. You pull that string. You know? Fuck.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah.
They're like, how can you be happy in life knowing that it doesn't matter? And it's like, dude, do you ever like eat a good dinner? Do you look forward to it? Do you enjoy it? Does it freaking end? Yes. Do you know it's going to end? Yeah. Does that ruin the fact that it's cool? I mean, it's just that simple, really.
And by the way, Paul, what is wrong with it being meaningless? What happens if it's meaningless to you? What if it is meaningless? What if that is the actual outcome? Then what? What's your answer to that? What do you say to that? What's the difference is that going to make to you?
Yeah, I don't give a fuck if the universe has a meaning. That doesn't bother me. I have meaning for myself.
I know. It's like it have a meaning. It doesn't have to.
Exactly. We make our own meanings. We make our own points.
I mean, if you want to
things
get
that we like.
If you want to get into the idea that there's no ultimate meaning, there's no ultimate, it doesn't matter in the end, then I could even agree with that. But what most people are talking about when they talk about nihilism has to do with things much closer, much more in our own lives, and right here and now is important to me. It's still it doesn't matter at the end of the universe. It matters to the people here and now.
Correct. Absolutely.
And somehow Paul interprets this as what's wrong with nihilism.
I know.
Are you listening or what? I
Probably
said I have
not.
meaning in my life, and it doesn't bother me if the universe has no meaning because I give myself meaning. What does that have anything to do with nihilism at all in any way?
Correct.
Well, he's probably not really listening and paying attention, though. I mean, he was going off about how Peterson got everything right about C16 too.
I see 15.
Oh, what?
It's like I'm gonna make some chocolate chip cookies for me and my kids, but eventually they're gonna be poop. So who cares?
So
no, I do care. I do care because we want to eat them and they're going to be yummy. So, damn.
I just want to go on like Viking raids and like pillage villages and stuff. That'd be cool.
I'm with Johnny on that.
Can you imagine that? I'm berserker.
In reality, it'd be a lot of work and a lot of sailing and boring crap.
But that'd be a life for me.
Yeah, but it's purpose and meaning.
That's freedom. That is free will.
Hey, well, and see, I guess that proves the point that we each do make our own purpose and have our own meaning. So,
exactly.
Once again, I ask, what does that have anything to do with nihilism?
It doesn't have anything to do with nihilism or atheism or anything. Paul is using all the go-to standard fucktarded creationist Christian apologetic bullshit. He's gonna just bounce from one to the other. Let's watch it happen.
I'm telling you, after you had seen your first village burned to the ground, that's in your blood. You're gonna be going. You have meaning in your life there.
Whoa, hey, how many villages have you burned, Johnny?
Well, if you get it hot enough, it will.
That's a good point.
Of course, nuclear would be fission, though. Wouldn't be technically burning it. It'd be fusing shit.
Well, that depends on what part of the red giant you're in.
True.
I'll be right back.
So, other than talking about bad apologetics. What else did I miss when you guys got started?
We were talking about people that take sides in an argument and just totally go on the ad hominem kind of routine or whatever. Just turn, just don't really go with an argument. Just call people names, basically, on whatever opposite side you are on the argument.
Right. Well, honestly, that happens to the best of us sometimes. I guarantee you, there's been many times I responded to someone, but when it comes to the point when you hear the same argument 100 times, and you're just tired of it, but then again, you're hearing it from 100 different people, and so it's not fair to that one person.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I empathize with a certain level of just getting fucking sick of certain arguments.
Sure. But at the same time, when people end up doing that, even if it's the same, even if that's why, and I completely understand what you're saying there, even if that's why that's happening, it can still be the case that somebody you're talking to or somebody that's on the other side or whatever has dealt with the same kind of numbers of people just tired of it, just responding that way without ever having the reasonable or rational conversations or anything civil.
And that person never actually gets a chance.
And then this just
arguments.
Constantly just builds on itself. And
I understand that, and I try to be as civil as possible, but
I mean,
I don't have the greatest patience sometimes.
It does happen. I can't claim that I've never lost it either.
Whenever I get in a really heated debate, then I just poop my pants and I win. Nobody wants to argue with you anymore.
I just want to wait from you.
No argument here. No, it depends. I'm not that old.
Yeah, I actually, talking about going to church, I actually haven't been to a church in almost a year and a half, but I think I'm going to be going Sunday. So that's going to be fun.
My niece's baptism. My niece's baptism. That was, how old is she now? 13?
Oh, that's cool. Good for her. Good for you. Not necessarily for the baptism, but, 13 is a great age. I bet she's, smart as hell. That's the age when my brain was soaked out with crazy stuff.
Yeah. That's too much energy.
Kids are like a fucking sponge on amphetamines, it's crazy.
Yeah. I'm just like a hippie on pot. Exactly, bacteria say hi. Exactly, bacteria say hi.
But previously, Paul was trying to say if intelligence is inversely related to species survival, why does the universe want more intelligence? And I'd commented that who was saying that intelligence was inversely related to species survival. That's kind of how we got to our point, is with our intelligence.
Well, that assumes that there's only one metric that's going to increase survival. Intelligence is just one thing that we happen to use currently to survive. That has nothing to do with the many, many other stages we went to get to this point, and plus the other methods other creatures use to survive.
Yeah, there's lots of ways.
Bacteria don't need intelligence because they're ridiculously resilient and multiply by the bazillions.
Yeah. But intelligence also isn't necessarily going to stop you from surviving, as is the case with us.
Right, obviously.
Yeah.
It's just another on a, a chart that has many different metrics,
Yeah.
I would love a weigh-in on by Steve on this this bullshit that Paul is talking about.
Very low threshold for that level of dumb.
Okay, what was Paul originally saying? Quantum biology?
Yes.
That's what he's talking about, Steve.
Quantum biology challenges atheism somehow. Paul, it only hurts survival in some cases, in some niches. It doesn't hurt it in all it can be helpful.
Yeah, Steve. It sounds like it's some pretty woo stuff. I'm not familiar with it, but something tells me that you are, and that's why I was saying I would love a weigh-in
Yeah,
by
I don't
Steve
even
on this
know what-
subject. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy, but unfortunately, Paul won't make a video for us to rip apart.
Yeah.
Or even provide actual sources other than, well, okay, you like mentioned a few people, but
Yeah, actually, I looked up one of his references earlier, and it had absolutely nothing to do with what he was talking about. It was about quantum gravitation and nothing else. It had nothing to do with biology whatsoever. Just so you know, Paul.
Quantum authority.
I just think it's like hilarious that he's making the claims that intelligence is the opposite of a survival trait.
I find it hilarious that he
I
made the
mean,
claim.
we have there's the Darwin Award trophies for a reason.
yeah.
Paul, seriously, make a fucking video. Don't be a pussy. Make a fucking video, and then let's hear it out. Because what you're talking about sounds insane.
All right, I gotta go, guys.
But yeah.
Have
See
a
you,
great
Snuffy.
night.
See you, Snuffy. Thanks for stopping in, bud. See, I got these two rocks that, since I was landscaping and going through so many freaking rocks. But two of them, and this is my monkey brain doing that pattern seeking thing or whatever. It looks like they fit the description of meteorites, and they're pretty big ones. But what can I? Oh, I don't know. Maybe I should videotape in high def and see if somebody can check it out. Because it does look like it's got carbon buildup on one side or whatever, and fitting all the description on there. But they're when you got glacier tilt like that around this area here, I don't know. They frost heaves them up from wherever they could have been, but normally we don't find meteorites here.
Oh, well, Johnny, if you ever make your way out here, I'll take you to Meteor Crater.
Oh, that'd be great.
It's something to see. And Paul, yes, it sounds insane. So make a video and show me that it's not insane. You know, it's really that simple. Show me exactly what you're talking about. Instead of spewing in the chat, just make a video and then we'll get on with it. And I got to be honest with you, I would love nothing more than to be proven wrong. And I will actually issue a public apology if I am proven wrong. So do it. Make a video.
Can you hear the horns going charge right now? He's just on his way to do it.
Yeah, I seriously doubt
Get
that.
himself an iPad.
Did you see Blue's comment? Quantum biology is standard? Really? What university teaches that subject?
Yeah, that's why I'm saying I don't know anything about this. It sounds
Of course he will.
completely crazy. So I honestly, I mean, and you know, the truth is always stranger than fiction. So I'm still open-minded, and I will genuinely listen to whatever he has to say. But if what he's saying is crazy,
Yeah.
you're going to be the subject of one of my low-hanging fruit series.
You of YouTube. That's nice.
Uh,
That's awesome, Clade.
Yes, Clay, that's great. You win the internet for 10 minutes.
I'm the you of YouTube.
You have why?
Steve
That would
McRae
make a
wants
good
a link.
t-shirt.
Oh, hey, send him a link, Johnny.
What was that?
Send
Oh.
Steve a link.
All right.
Oh, there isn't going to be an easy proof. It's impossible to make a video because what he's talking about is so complicated that it's impossible to really string it together in incoherent nonsense. Oh, I'm sorry.
I mean,
go ahead.
I mean, if it's just too complicated for one video, he could just make a whole series, but I don't think he's going to do that either.
A big time requirement? Motherfucker, Paul, god damn it. Every content creator puts in a big time requirement.
Oh my
you even realize how much it takes to make a 10-minute video? Seriously.
Yeah, I think a lot of my videos, I take several hours writing the script. Then I take up to half an hour trying to read the script so that I can edit out all of the terrible mistakes. Then who knows how long editing the audio, and then hours editing the video, and sometimes hours rendering the video. Then I spend the time correcting everything I didn't put in my script so that I can get captions up on it.
Hey, lady, you know who you're talking to right here about how hard it is to make videos?
Oh, shut it.
You should rewind the stream later and listen to it.
I know.
Hey, Steve, welcome.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hey, Steve. I'm sorry, Steve. I got to cut in real quick. Paul, bullshit. Don't tell people to look it up. Back up what you're saying.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I know what he's referring to, and I think he's kind of confusing a couple different things. There is something called quantum biology, but he's talking about Roger Penrose. Back years and years ago, I don't remember how long ago. It had to be in the 80s, I guess, maybe. Richard Penrose is a physicist, and maybe it was the 90s. He got with an anesthesiologist by the name of Stuart Hamhoff, and he postulated that consciousness arrives quantum fluctuations, what he called microtubules, and he called this the orchestrated abductive reduction theory, or OR for short. It is a very fringe hypothesis. It's not like it's like crank. There's actually been some research to show that these microtubules do exist and that they do have quantum fluctuations. Now, whether consciousness comes from that's completely unknown. But what he's doing is he's trying to take this balance between actual biology and quantum, because you got to remember these brain states do involve quantum states. I mean, let's be realistic. Everything in electronics has quantum states. And when Penrose was trying to make this as an emergent property and develop this OR, it was kind of looked as fringe, really fringe. And now they're finding that there might be more to it. But that doesn't get you to any kind of thing of dualism or to God. It doesn't negate biology. It doesn't really change much. It's just that they think that now consciousness, because we do have a mind-body duality of some kind, whether it's dualism or not, there is a mind-body connection. And mind-body in philosophy has been, talked about for thousands of years, why we have this conscious. So what he's talking about is kind of out there, but I don't think that he probably has the prerequisite understanding of the theory to actually really do a video on it. Because I was asking him in the top chat, he didn't really seem to be able to discuss orchestrated objective reduction. So, but that's what he's referring to if you want to look it up. Does that help?
Actually, and now that I know that, I will.
Yeah.
So, what is it that he was trying to equate this earlier to atheism?
Yeah, see, that's where they jump the shark, right? Because you're taking something that might have some possibility far as why we have a conscience, but that doesn't get you where you want to go to have any kind of intelligent agent or deity. Now, you guys know me well enough by watching my stuff. I take a very philosophical approach to atheism. Atheism, to me, is the belief that gods do not exist. I take a very formal approach. Now, not everybody does that. Obviously, American Atheist, David Silverman, Aaron Ra, Seth Andrews, all those people, they take a very colloquial approach to atheism, which is okay. I think it's a poor way to go, but they're perfectly allowed to do so. But Paul here in the live chat, if he's going to posit that OR somehow disproves atheism as far as the belief that God does not exist, then he has a very, very long way to go. Because it does, and you know, I was talking about panpsychism. It doesn't even get you to panpsychism, Paul. I think again, you're throwing all these terms together.
Well, he did say it gets closer to.
Not only is he throwing them together, he's trying to turn them into principles.
Yeah, but see, but panpsychism is not people having consciousness. Panpsychism is that everything in the universe has some kind of awareness. Even your cells have an individual awareness to them. That's panpsychism.
Yeah, that needs some serious evidence.
Yeah, that's just way out there nonsense stuff. But I mean, when people say they debunk atheism, the only way that makes sense is that they're taking it from a philosophical point of view, that atheism is the belief that God does not exist, or God doesn't exist. Now, dualism won't get you there. Even if there was some kind of dualism, and that means that the mind and body are independent of each other, such that you do not need any kind of physical substrate to have a brain, to have a mind. You need the brain, and then you need whatever the dualist approach is. There's a couple different ways to look at dualism. It doesn't get you to a deity. That's where they keep failing. Even if there's something even supernatural, it doesn't get you to a deity. They miss a lot of steps along the way.
Yeah, they do.
Does that help?
It does.
Because I confuse more.
No, I really appreciate that explanation. I didn't know a damn thing about it, but you know, as we questioned Paul, he was very evasive and just kept saying, "Look it up, look it up."
Yeah, see, that's when you know that somebody is just throwing these terms out there, because I just by what he said when he mentioned Penrose, I knew what he was talking about because I've looked into this before, and I've also read Penrose. I'm a fan of Penrose, but I've seen people use these arguments to try to fight against atheism and promote theism, and I think it's disingenuous. I think it's dishonest, and you know me, I'll call out anybody if I think they're being dishonest, whether they're atheist or theist. I just think a bad argument is a bad argument.
Oh yeah, I agree.
It definitely blurs the lines. Definitely blurs the line.
But if he wants to come in, I'll be happy to talk to him about him. I mean, I know a little bit about Orc-or-R, enough to probably have a conversation with it. But
you're welcome to come in, Paul, if you want.
But if he wants to talk about atheism, I'll definitely have a conversation with him, because I'm cool with that.
well, me and they were just talking about that. We got to get an apologetic in here, so. I'm too nice of a guy, I guess.
This will be a treat for me.
Find me a priest supper. They're my favorite.
It'd be interesting if he wanted to come in, but
he said
he says, I'm not being dishonest. The God question is not simple. It's the biggest question we have. No, I agree that the God question is a big question. I mean, it has been for thousands of years. I will argue against an atheist just as much as I will a theist when an atheist says, oh, there is no argument, God doesn't exist. I'm like, you have a very high burden to demonstrate to me that you have a justification for saying that. And you know how many atheists have actually met that? Very few. I know a couple. But it requires a in-depth understanding of the topics to say, I have the belief that God does not exist, and therefore the question's over. That doesn't mean they're right. It just means that they're justified to say it.
Well, they have to define their God, whatever they mean by God, because it's really ill-defined, whatever they say. So if they're talking about a deistic kind of thing like that, then
I do believe there should be some kind of definitional thing, but you got to remember this, Johnny. When people go down this route of, oh, define your God, it gets to be a little bit dishonest for the theist position, because now that what they're doing is they're resorting to what's called ichtheism. Okay? And the problem with ichtheism is that if you really believed that God is a concept that is ill-defined, then you shouldn't be having conversations about God. You're doing what's called performance contradiction, or a belief act that is contrary to the belief. You're actually saying, I don't think there's a valid concept of God out there, but let me spend 5 hours talking about God. See what I'm saying? If a person's a true ichtheist, they're not going to be talking about God because they don't understand the concept. It'd be like, hey, lady, let's talk about Beelzebub's waffles. You'd be like, what the hell is that? I don't know. Let's spend 5 hours talking about it, though. You'd be like, no, I'm not interested in that. I don't know what the hell the word means.
I still don't know what a God is.
Well, but you kind of do, though. I mean, most people have a general conception of when people talk about God. They kind of, like, for example, if you're an atheist, you have a concept of God. You cannot be an atheist and not know what the God concept is, because you're not formulating a position on a proposition then. If the proposition is God does not exist, and you say, well, what's a God? Okay, that's fine. You're an atheist. But if you say, what's a God, but I believe that proposition is false, that's a contradiction. Because now you're saying that proposition is false, but you don't even know what the proposition means.
But how many different definitions of God have you heard in your life?
But it really makes no difference. Any definition will work.
It does make a difference because some people can define God in such a way that they basically define God into existence.
They can define God.
Arguing that
then you call them out for that. That's fine. Look at if I say the sun is a God, and I say the proposition, does God exist? And I say, hey, the son's a God. And I'll say, okay, fine, that proposition is true. It doesn't get you anywhere. It doesn't prove the Christian God or anything. It just makes that proposition true. So it's a trivial thing for somebody to do that. If they want to play that game, oh, the son's a God. Therefore, if the son's a God, then the proposition is true. That follows. It's logically sound, actually, right? It makes sense. A proposition, it's logically valid.
But then I can only actually say that I don't believe one exists after I know what they're saying in the first place. And sometimes they're sitting there arguing that whatever your concept is, that's not what I'm saying. So then they need to say what the hell they're saying.
If I just asked you, though, the proposition, do gods exist in the universe? And you tell me what's a god, then you're already discounting atheism and theism. You're falling under a different category altogether. You're falling under atheism. Or you might fall under what's called a theological non-cognitivist. And what they think is that proposition isn't even a real proposition. They think it's not truth apt, which is a very bizarre position. Because, what's that?
I said it sounds like it.
Yeah, the problem with theological non-cogs is that they technically, from their perspective, don't fall under theism or non-theism, which is weird because you have to fall under one or the other. That's a dichotomy. But from their perspective, they do not fall under either. From a higher epistemic vantage point, then obviously they're non-theist. But they, for some reason, think that proposition is not even truth apt. And I, for the life of me, have never met a true theological non-cognitivist that can give me an explanation of why that proposition is not truth apt. Clade says that's why agnostic is the reasonable position, or is a reasonable position. Yeah, no, agnosticism is a very reasonable position, but it's not that the other positions are unreasonable. Atheism and theism are reasonable positions if you can justify them to be. That's the key.
And that is why I wanted to hear Steve weigh in on this, because he is like the perfect true neutral in all this, a well-educated true neutral.
I try to be
very
neutral.
much, Steve. I'm actually a big fan of you for a long time.
But I have my biases. I do not have a God belief, and I'm very much against young Earth creationism and flat Earth. I think they're the two biggest dumbass things I've ever heard in my life, and there's so much evidence against either one that to throw away all reality to be a young Earth creationist or a flat Earther to me is just absurd. You've got to have something mentally wrong upstairs to be able to do that, or at least be such an ideologue.
I'm the only one that doesn't have bias.
What's that?
I'm the only one that doesn't have bias,
Yeah. Everyone has bias.
Everybody has a bias. Yeah. But did you watch my video the other day, Johnny, on the belief thing that people didn't believe that I exist? Did you watch that one?
I caught part of it. I caught part of it. I've been throwing rocks around. I've been landscaping. I'm throwing rocks by hand the last couple of days. I've been outside a lot, but yeah.
It was really fun because look, when people tell me that they do not believe that I exist, they don't seem to see the epistemic problem with that. And I want atheists to have better arguments, right? Just like I want theists to have better arguments. And when an atheist tells me that they do not believe that I exist, and yet they're talking to me, they are by definition being irrational. I don't think anybody wants somebody to be irrational. It makes them look bad. What?
I've never before actually heard somebody say that they don't believe the person they're talking to exists.
Well, think about it from their point of view, lady. They don't. And this is a subset, and it's so far I think it's only atheists have done this, but they do not like the word belief, and they think belief because Aaron has instilled in people who watch his videos, and I'm a big fan of Aaron, you know that, but he's absolutely just so off base on this. He thinks belief is a bad word, right? He thinks belief is equated to faith, and that's an equivocation problem. Now, I think he does understand in philosophy, belief is a real thing. I think he does know it, but I think he wants to just avoid the whole conversation of belief, because you mentioned to a theist a word belief, they're like, oh, look, see, you're in the same boat as us. You just have faith. No, a belief is not just faith. It's a completely different thing. A belief, you have to have belief before you can have knowledge. If I know X to be true, I also at the same time believe X to be true. So if somebody says, I know Steve exists, but at the same time holds that they do not believe that I exist, they have a contradiction.
Oh, for fuck's sakes. We went to the brain in a vat argument.
It's worse than that.
Yeah,
No, there's worse than that.
It would have to be worse than that.
Yeah, because a brain in a vat, you can argue against that. There are arguments against a brain in a vat. What's that?
If he's a brain in a vat, unplug him then.
Well, you don't have to get into the technical stuff, but the simplest way to argue against a brain in a vat is that, look, even if I was a brain in a vat, it would not matter, because this is my reality. This is my map to the territories, they call it.
I don't know.
So even if I was a brain in a vat, it doesn't matter. This is my reality.
I agree with that, Steve, and it's actually one of the reasons that I personally, I disbelieve in the God of the Bible, and I am actually open to the idea of a God, but I haven't seen any proof for it, so I neither support it nor deny it. And I think that I actually fall a lot along the lines that you do.
Yeah, no, that would be the agnostic position. Yeah. And of course, there's some gods that I don't believe, obviously. And there's some versions of the Christian God that are just not possible. I do not see how you can logically have a deity that's 100% justice and 100% mercy. Those things do not have the ability to be 100% both.
Yeah. No special pleading or special mystical powers will make up for that.
Or the 100% good but created evil.
That one is a little bit tricky. If a deity is an omni-god that has, like you said, 100% good, then the evidential problem of evil is a very powerful argument against that type of deity. But it's not a perfect argument against it. I think that obviously with the 100% justice, 100% mercy, that is a perfect argument to me, because mercy is defined as the suspension of justice, and justice is basically the suspension of mercy. So you cannot suspend both. Either you have one or the other. Either you give justice and dispense it, or you give mercy to the person and leniency to them. You cannot do both. But the evidential problem of evil is a strong argument against an omnibenevolent God. But I think that's probably why a lot of theists are kind of shying away from the omni traits lately.
Well, and a big question is honestly, if it is not the God of the Bible, why does arguing for deism so strongly, why does that matter?
I don't think it really does. And again, there's many different versions of even the God of the Bible. I mean, Muslims have the same God of the Bible as the Christians do. It's a different version, but it's the same deity. But the deist position, probably because the deist position is very difficult for falsification criteria.
Well, yeah, they all are. But I mean, why does it matter?
It really doesn't.
Well, that's an interesting claim. So Paul tried to claim that if evil didn't exist, we would be
automatrons. Yeah. And that doesn't follow, though.
No. How do you even get there?
I don't know how that follows. An automatron, by the way, is Descartes had come up with a theory that basically an automatron would be something that doesn't have an actual conscience. We would call them basically what's called a philosophical zombie now, or P-zombie. But an automatron was just something that just goes through the motion like a machine, mechanistically. Yeah, and evil has no relationship to that whatsoever.
Even if the only options were good or neutral ones, that still wouldn't mean there were no options. It wouldn't mean that it's just...
And by the way, the whole thing on that is, if that was true, first of all, I don't believe free will actually exists. Libertarian free will is not.
I don't either.
But if Paul is right, then according to his own reasoning, you have no free agency after you die and go to heaven, because there's no evil in heaven. So you're just an automaton to God at that point, by his own reasoning.
Agreed. The only free will is in hell.
You have a lot more free will in hell than you do in heaven. There's certain the way certain theists promote the argument.
Yeah.
But the argument I have is who's got the best marinara sauce for babies? That's what I'd like to know.
Baby cheek barbecue.
Okay.
And we do have free agency. Just because we don't have libertarian free will doesn't mean we don't have choice. and a lot of people get that confused. Libertarian
Yeah.
free will is indeterminacy, right? It's not a non-deterministic position. It doesn't mean, though, that you don't have the ability to choose. The problem is the libertarian would say that you have the ability to choose without any undue influence. That's not possible.
I like to say you're a marionette with a conscience.
Yeah, I mean, it may be, I would say we do, to some degree, have the ability to make choices. It's kind of evident. But at the same time, in the exact same situation, including the same motivations for the person, you're not going to make, you know, it's, you
the
don't
same
really
choice.
have, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the key. That's the key, lady. You've obviously looked into this before. That is the key. If the agent has the same input, if you go back in time and rewind a decision, and the agent has the same input, the indeterminist would say that it's random, his choice at that point. You don't know what he's going to choose. The determinist would say, well, given the same input, the agent's going to make the same choice every time. So even though it's deterministic, there's still a choice to be made. Just because they're deterministic is not the same as fatalism. Fatalism is where no matter what you do, the end result must be the way it's going to be. It's hard determined that way.
And I've seen some people like talk about justice systems and stuff to do with that, and how can we consider somebody responsible for their actions if they don't ultimately have the ability to act otherwise. But it's like part of what is determining that is things that are that person.
Yes,
their
exactly.
Traits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, unless you're a fatalist, I would agree that if you subscribe to fatalism, it is kind of hard to put more responsibility in there. But the worst case is when you have indeterminacy. How do you have moral responsibility if the outcome is going to be random? And that was with Paul. I don't know if you watched the debate the other day with Joe and that Reverend. That's where Joe kept calling the Reverend out on, because the Reverend didn't understand his own position. He was advocating a libertarian free will position, and then he was talking. He gave up. He was talking about the randomness element of it, and Joe's pointing out, well, if it's random, then you don't have moral accountability. You've just really shat on your own argument here.
Yeah, if it's random, you're not really making the decision exactly. You just
that's it.
Yeah.
But I tell you, atheists love these moral type arguments. They really think that they're like the feather in their cap. And I got to tell you, I've yet to find two people that really have the same definitions of objective and subjective. It's ridiculous.
I know.
Which actually kind of proves that there is no objective.
Well, those words mean different things in different situations to different people. I hate to say the word weasel words because they're not, but they're very vague in their use because of how many people have used them so many different ways in philosophical literature.
Yeah. Well, what kills me is the objective opinion.
Yeah, all opinions are subjective.
But if you look up objective, you can find some dictionaries will actually use that phrase in an example.
Yeah,
it makes me cringe.
Now, you can have objective facts. I'm okay with that. There are some facts that are objective,
Sure,
absolutely.
Sure.
And I'm even okay with moral facts being objective. I don't have a problem with that. I don't subscribe to that, but I don't see anything wrong with it. But when a theist says, "Oh, if you accept objective morality exists, you need to ground it in God. There's no other way," they're wrong. Yeah. They're absolutely wrong. Wittgenstein grounded it in compassion. He had objective morality, and he grounded it in compassion. You can ground it in any way you want if you can make an argument for it, but I'm okay with the possibility of objective morals existing. I think that atheists shoot themselves in the foot when they arbitrarily just straight out say, "Oh, there can be no objective morality." I know Bionic Dance loves that, and she's been schooled on this by Sisyphus Redeemed, and I think even Alex Malpass. I think there's been a few people that have explained to her, "Don't be doing that because you're running a very bad argument. Objective morality can exist, whether it does or not. Who knows? But you can't just blankly say that it's not possible, because she's confusing moral relativism with objective morality, and they're not the same thing."
Yeah. I can anything objective I can argue against it.
Well, you can, but that doesn't mean objective reality doesn't exist. Yeah, I can say, look, I have an objective moral thing. I'll give you one. Or this is not morality, but objective fact. Look, the objective morality is what you ought to do in a situation. So if I say, if you want to win a race, you ought to run fast. That is objectively true, no matter what the hell anybody thinks.
I could
If
shoot
you
the other
want
horse.
to win, you ought to run fast. That holds true.
I could shoot the other horse.
There's other things you can do, but that doesn't change the ought.
Yeah.
The ought is you ought to. You do have to? No. But you ought to run fast if you want to win the race. That is an objective fact.
I was thinking you were saying ought to win the race to do that. Then you could do anything from there.
Are you guys watching the chat right now?
Actually, no.
I have been.
Check it out. Okay, so here's an interesting one. Paul has moved on to consciousness that reaches out beyond the brain.
Are we going to cover everything with him?
There's been never, and again, I'm trying to be neutral here. There's been no experiment whatsoever that's ever demonstrated mind independent of a brain.
Yeah.
That has reached out, extended out. None.
Now, has anyone here in the chat ever experienced anything like that?
I lucid dream. I have lucid dreams all the time. I have them all my life, and they're very powerful. Don't get me wrong. People would call them astral projection, but they're the same phenomenon labeled two different ways for two different reasons. I don't subscribe to astral projection. I don't think that there's anything actually going anywhere. It's all internalized in the brain. But they're very, very vivid. And I can see thousands of years ago, if somebody had a lucid dream, they would take it as a vision, or they would take it as a vision quest, or they take it as somebody actually leaving their body. Because you know what? It feels like you're leaving your body. It really does. Have you ever experienced one?
I have.
Yeah, it's very powerful.
Yeah.
I've experienced sleep paralysis. Yeah.
Yeah, you usually get one after sleep paralysis or during. Yeah.
I actually had a funny experience that made me question just for a minute very recently. I have a 5-year-old daughter, and she's with her mother. And I was on the phone with her the other day, and I was cooking some dinner, and she was like, "Daddy, are you cooking some steak?" And I'm like, "Yeah," which is actually pretty unusual for me. And somehow she knew I was cooking steak. Now, does that mean that there's some sort of extra conscious anything? No. But does it mean that, she might have had some sort of predictive power over me? Probably.
You get to know, you get, there's some predictive ability because you get to know situations and know people. And you got to also remember this. We have billions of pieces of data inputted all the time, right? I mean, a lot of input. Occasionally, there's going to be input that has, appears to have some kind of synchronicity with something. Where there may be no causal relationship whatsoever, but you get enough data points, there's going to be weird stuff. You're going to have these weird things. Oh, well, hell, this happened at the same time as something else. Because, how many times have you slept at night? This person's talking about something that happened at 4 a.m. Well, I mean...
Yeah.
I've actually got a good example of that happened to me today. I was going out to the farm place that I grew up on, getting the field rock from the rock pile there when I was doing that. And certain triggers from my childhood or whatever, I'd start thinking about certain things, recognizing things or whatever. And it's like all these, your mind can really be powerful in that sense or whatever, and tell you.
Absolutely.
Well, and that's what I was going to say, Steve, that I don't think it's necessarily a matter of that there's no causal relation. It's just that there is a causal relation that we don't know about yet.
Yeah, and that's fine. But I mean, you're going to hate me for this, but I don't really subscribe to the principle of sufficient reason. Now, I do know that is a collection of things, not just one thing. But I don't think there has to be causes for effects. Theists always love to point out, oh, well, if you have an effect, you have to have a cause. Well, unfortunately, that doesn't hold true. That's something we observe and we think it might be true, but we do know there's violations of it. In quantum mechanics, there's something called weak nuclear decay, and there's what's called spontaneous fission. And when those occur, they are events or effects without causes. And if you look into what's called hidden variable models and not hidden variable models, you'll see that there is no cause for these things. There's no information in that system. There's no hidden variable that determines when a nuclei is going to decay or when something undergoes spontaneous fission. There is no information there. Therefore, there is no cause. It is completely quantum randomness.
Well, no, and I don't hate you for that. No, that's really great. But I like to subscribe to the thought that maybe it's randomness, or maybe we just don't know yet.
No, but that's the problem. In quantum mechanics, the hidden variable model, which Einstein promoted, was that we just don't know yet. That was the model that there are some things that we just don't know yet. Therefore, there's an explanation that we're not aware of. But we have found out that there's only one hidden variable model that actually kind of works. You might have heard it tossed around, called pilot wave theory, or Bohemian mechanics, or Brahm. But there's some problems with that. It does work, but it adds more assumptions than needed, and what's called violation of locality. But the current understanding now is that non-variable models are the way to go, and that's like a Copenhagen interpretation. The non-hidden variable models, to make it very simple, there is no explanation. There is nothing missing. There is just nothing there. So it's not that we just don't know or don't know something. It is that there is nothing to know. Quantum mechanics is some weird shit like that, right?
Agreed. I don't really know enough about it to comment at this point.
Look up when you get a chance. Look into what's called local realism.
I will. Yeah. But it does make you wonder, though, like, how do situations like that occur? Are they predictive? Are they related to something else? But I don't know. I think there is a causal relation to some of the feelings and things that we feel we know that are often linked to, like, psychic abilities or prophetic. And I think there is another reason.
I think we have senses that maybe we don't tap into often enough.
I don't know why the conversation is taking down that road, but I keep thinking of Rumsfeld when he said the known unknowns and knowns, or whatever, in that one speech of his.
I mean, like I said, we're inundated by senses. I mean, the only way we actually perceive our reality is through our senses, right? So we might, for example, pheromones. We didn't know what the hell pheromones was at one time, right? So
Sure.
we didn't even know how things communicated. Like plants, they communicate with each other through pheromones. We interact with each other through pheromones. You could actually know people's feelings probably with pheromones. It can relay a lot of information, but it's not magic, right?
Oh, certainly not.
People might have picked up this stuff, and intuitively be able to process certain things that they take as an empathy or a type of psychic thing. When it's not. It's just biochemistry, which I know very little about. So I'm not going to go there.
Oh, yeah, that makes two of us. Oh, no, trust me, Steve, I am a skeptic to the max. So, I don't subscribe to psychics or anything like that, but I do think that there is a great many things that science has not discovered.
Absolutely. And that's one of the great things about science. And look, I am not an ontological naturalist. I am a methodological naturalist, which means that I subscribe to the scientific method in application to science. First of all, don't ever try to apply the scientific method outside of science. It doesn't work. There is something called scientism, and I know theists love to throw that word around and they get it wrong. But there is actually something called scientism, and that what it is using the scientific method inappropriately. But I don't subscribe that there is something out there that's only materialistic or only physicalism. I don't know. I'm like you. I'm a skeptic on that aspect. I'm agnostic on that proposition. There might be. I have had some weird things I can't explain. But I'm not at the position to advocate for any kind of thing because I don't know what it would be. I don't believe in psychics. I don't believe in premonitions. But I'm not discounting the possibility.
I thought I could do a witching rod once. That was one belief that I did have.
Yeah, well, I've done the dowsing rods.
I thought
weird, but
I thought that was true. And I saw Randy, James Randy debunk it or whatever. It's like, oh man,
it's definitely the Edemoti effect. There's no question.
Too many people.
Go ahead, lady.
Hey,
I'm sorry, lady.
I was going to say
we as humans, don't we look for patterns?
Yes,
And doesn't that mislead us?
Yep.
Yes, we're humans. Can I talk now?
Yes, lady, go ahead.
Okay, so
I guess
back when I was an early teen, I used to actually think that I really did, because I would have these dreams, and I would even, I would go way farther than some people do. I went to the point of, I would write down in a dream journal what I dreamt about, and if there were any specific feelings associated and all this stuff. And I had some really interesting things line up. I had one that I had this dream that I wound up in a vehicle that went into a lake and almost drowned because of it. And I still get nervous going over water in a vehicle because of this. And I specifically told my mom about it and got her not to park in a way that was going near the vehicle. And then the transmission slipped, and had it been in the right position, it just might have done that. So I've definitely seen some of that kind of stuff happen that makes you wonder sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's okay to wonder. And by the way, Jonathan, your breathy mic is huge right now. It's really bad.
My what?
Your mic is breathy.
I'm too loud.
The lady was even saying.
Sorry.
But no, I got most of it. But yeah, no, I think you're right. Look at, there's weird stuff that happens. I don't think anybody's going to deny that. I can't posit a non-explanatory explanation for things like I see people.
Right. And I'm not saying that it actually was anything, but it was very interesting at the time. And I certainly, at that point in time, that was where my mind went. Like, it had to, in my mind at the time, it had to be prophetic or something, because how could this be happening?
Sure.
But it can happen. It's a dream. Like, you can have coincidence. It wasn't a dream that was impossible.
Yeah, because you have a lot of dreams all the time, and so
yeah, it was a perfectly reasonable thing that could happen, and it happened to later.
Dream the lottery numbers, and you might have a case, though, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But then again, that might happen one day, right? You know,
Yeah, it still could. Yeah.
Here's the worst possible situation. Can you imagine a psychic that predicts the numbers and just luckily gets them right? You know he's going to be famous, you know, even though he didn't actually predict them.
That would be unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's where the
possible,
problem
right?
breaks down is where people get to the line of unexplained, and then they make the giant leap to a god or psychic or whatever.
Paul says he's a skeptic of materialism.
I don't think he knows what materialism means, because first of all, very few people even subscribe to materialism. They subscribe to what's called physicalism. And there's a distinct difference between physicalism and materialism. But I noticed theists love to throw that word around. Oh, if you're an atheist, you must have subscribed to materialism. No, you don't.
I subscribe to DirecTV.
Well, I mean, especially don't, since it doesn't even necessarily always mean somebody believes in no supernatural.
Right.
But then on top of that, even if that is the case, it's not. Yeah.
Are you in a windstorm, John?
Yes, I'm in a massive windstorm.
Breathe through your nose.
I'm a mouth breather.
There. That should help with that. Silence.
Yeah.
By the way, and if anybody, if Paul is paying attention, Paul, I actually subscribe to what's called source physicalism. Have you ever heard that, Paul, in the live chat? Materialism tends to have the position that consciousness is an emergent thing from material, right? Material properties. Source physicalism is that literally consciousness is because you have a material substrate, and it is just as an emergent property as something like wetness is from water, even though water is not technically wet. Maybe that's a bad example. I know it's weird. Water is actually a wetting agent. It's not actually wet. But for this particular example, consider water to be wet. So source physicalism is a little bit different than materialism. So you might want to look that up, Paul. Because I don't subscribe to materialism, but I do subscribe to source physicalism. I know all these little subtle differences, right?
But yet they have meaning.
Yeah.
Conversations are hard.
Well, I mean, I like to kind of be precise in my framework, because you guys watch my stuff. I'm misquoted frequently. I'm misattributed frequently. I mean, just the other day I had TTR tell me that I've said things over the years that I know.
Oh, you just wait till I get done editing this live stream, Steve.
What's that?
You just wait till I get done editing this live stream. You're gonna.
Oh boy!
I'm just kidding,
dude. Who watches your channel?
Yeah, I know. Touche.
And by the way, I do get stuff wrong. I get called out on it. But when people call me out on it, and I like think about it, I'm like, okay, yeah, I got that wrong. I'm that first person to go, yeah, I totally fucked that up, and I won't make that mistake again. But there's a difference between that and then somebody like TTR going, oh, well, Steve advocates that macroevolution is only can be, over billions of years. No, TTR, I've never said that. I don't know who the hell you're referring to, but it certainly was not me. Because macroevolution can happen in a single generation. So I don't know who the hell he's talking about.
What about Big Mac growth evolution?
Big Mac what?
Big Mac.
Oh.
To all beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions.
Sesame seed.
You remember that commercial?
Yummy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so Johnny wins the dad joke award.
Yeah, that's a dad joke.
That's more like grandpa.
Well, I don't know if he could win that though after that stream yesterday with Surus and everybody.
You're hanging out with
There were I wasn't in the stream, I was just in the chat. But
I
there
love
were so many dad jokes at one section of it before they started talking about bodily fluids.
Jesus. I
you
started
didn't
to watch that
watch
space
the stream we
handle
had, did you? The urine advocate. Did you miss that?
I actually tuned out on that one. That guy was a little on the crazy side for me, and I switched over to Johnny.
A little?
A little. You haven't watched my stuff, Steve.
Oh, you have some strange shit.
Yeah. I have a series called Low Hanging Fruit. Yeah.
Oh, well, yes. Well, I had a series on my channel called Fruit on the Ground.
Oh, well, shit. I guess you got me beat.
That was less than low hanging fruit. They were bad. They were literally on the ground rotting.
I got one called Fruit in the Canyon. Just never mind.
I'll check out your channel, then go look at mine because, like I said, the Fruit on the Ground. These guys were just.
You know what? It's funny. I've never seen that, and I have been subscribed to you for absolutely years. I got to your channel from Cool Hard Logic.
Oh, I love Cool Hard Logic. Yeah, I have a whole playlist called Fruit on the Ground.
Jeez, I've never seen it. I'm gonna have to go looking for it.
I'll just. I mean, I have over 1,000, almost like somewhere around 1,000 videos. So
that's probably why.
Yeah,
I have 5 videos, Steve.
Yeah, we've talked about a lot of stuff over the years.
And I've just
a lot of stuff.
Screwing around having fun. I think I got 197 that are posted up.
You tend to forget after the first couple hundred.
I know.
Yeah, I've been a long time watcher, and I just recently started making content. So I don't know. I've been subscribed to you for a long time, and I will have to say, just quick plug for your channel. My God, I love Non Sequitur and Great Debate Community.
Yeah, it's good
They're
stuff.
like my favorite things on the internet.
Oh, man, I'm humbled. You're like that's the second time somebody said something similar to that to me today, and I'm like, wow. I mean, what was it yesterday? There was a guy named Mr. Atheist. You know him?
Yeah,
really nice kid.
Yeah, I had him on the show last week.
I'm going to be on. I think it's the 25th, but I'm not sure. Some Sunday. But I was in the live chat, and he was just thrilled to death that I was there and had nothing but praise. And I'm like, what the hell did I do to deserve this praise? I don't know, but I'm flattered.
Well, yeah, you deserve it. And I mean, honestly, I have listened to the Elephants Pine Trees after show. I have listened to that no less than 4 or 5 times.
I have listened to that.
It is so damn funny.
I still laugh at it because I got to admit that was probably one of the. I'm not going to say one of it. That was the funniest hangout I've ever been in my life, without question.
It was so great, so great. So yeah, you guys. I mean, and Non Sequitur, you guys have been putting out nonstop awesome content.
Are you actually a member of the Great Debate Community? I mean, are you on the G Plus thing?
Not yet. I have no social media other than YouTube, really. But I'm getting there. A little at a time. The ominous, mysterious, and faceless they has to stay mysterious somewhat.
I'll put it in the group chat there if anybody wants to actually join the G Plus group.
Well, then I'll do that.
We've got Logic, and we got Iseth, and I don't know. We have a lot of Thomas Westbrook.
Oh yeah. I've been actually meaning to start a Twitter account. I just haven't been taking my YouTube account too terribly serious. But
Twitter can be weird, man.
It's more fun. It's getting more fun as time goes on. So
It's
I'm
a lot of
having
work
more
maintaining channels because I have 3 now, and it's a lot. It's time consuming, but I don't mind it because I enjoy it. So,
of course, I'm out trying to get actual video footage every day, and that's for my videos lately. So it's like,
I actually took some video because I'm going to do, even though I've only just passed 100 subscribers, I've decided to tackle flat Earth. And right outside of my house is a little mountain range. And by little, I mean, by Arizona terms, little means like 5,000 feet. And it's really cool because you can actually watch the sunset and you can watch the shadows sweep up the mountain. And I took some cool video of that, and that's going to be the start to my Flat Earth series.
you do realize that once you go down that path and you look into the abyss of flat Earth, there's no going back from it, right?
Oh yeah, no, I intend to have a good time. I actually do YouTube, and the videos I do for the fun of it. That's it.
All right.
So should I be a bit more of a contrarian?
Oh yeah,
oh
cool.
yeah.
I'm actually a little concerned about everybody dealing with flat Earth and everything because it seems to have gone, since there's been so many people tackling it, from like the fringes to something more and more people know about and are actually considering as if it's possible. And it wouldn't be the first time that we've seen something that got taken seriously, even if not really seriously, end up having, even though it had no actual basis, getting more people to believe it because too many people just took it seriously.
It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and I agree with you, except that I've seen flat Earth grow before people were really tackling it. The only people back years ago that were really tackling it, there's a channel called Flat Earth Discussions, Red's Rhetoric, and now there's a bigger group on that side. Red's has a lot of good debunkers. He's got George, he's got Sean Hufford and Jared. I mean, these guys are really, really good. But I think that you're right. I think the exposure that we gave flat earthers by all the channels that talk about them probably had a backfire effect to some degree, that people were exposed to that probably wouldn't have been, that maybe have came flat earthers. But I'm holding out hope that the vast majority who watch the anti-flat earth videos recognize that flat earth is bullshit and that learn the arguments against them. I did a flat earth video one time. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but I did one against Orphan Red. And when I showed it, let her know about it, there was just a great amount of disinterest. And to me, I think she's a Poe. I don't think she's.
I think so too.
I think she's a Poe.
Agreed. I saw that one. I saw it.
She's a big boob.
I'll stare at her all day long. Don't get me wrong, but I don't mean in a creepy way because I like beautiful women. But she's a good-looking woman. But I would have to think to myself, okay, she's hot, but as soon as she talks about flat Earth, that all sexiness just goes away.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe it's kind of like finding a hot woman that plays World of Warcraft all day long. They're a friggin' unicorn.
My baby's mama was one of them.
Nice.
We played World of Warcraft for years together. I probably spent more time in Astaroth than I did with her mom.
Yikes.
Yeah, but I don't play anymore. I haven't played for a year.
Now I hate you.
Why, they don't play any longer?
No, just kidding.
That game takes a lot, dude. I played World of Warcraft for like a decade, so it took a lot of.
Yeah, that's me too. I was an original vanilla player, and I stopped playing probably like 4 years ago.
Yeah, I played in vanilla, but I had a PvP mage. I had pretty decent PvP. I wasn't like one of the best, but I was good.
What does it matter? Were you having fun?
I loved it. I had a group of 40 people that we had a core group, and because you obviously you have 5 or 10 man groups or whatever, and it was really easy to get people because they had like a good core 40 group of PvPers that would play.
Yeah. Well, then that was probably, you're talking like back in the original days of WoW. But I mean, to me, there was so many WoW players that took it way too seriously. For me, it was all just, it's a game. I'm here for fun. That's it.
Have you played Witcher 3?
I have.
Oh God, is that a great game or what?
All the way through, and Dragon Age Inquisition, and I do like my games. I don't get a hell of a lot of time to play them, but I do try and get a playthrough on each of the fantasy ones.
I am stuck. I am like on level 23, and it feels like I've been playing Witcher 3 for all my life. It's the longest game I've ever tried in my life, and I'm saying if you do all the side quests, right? If you just do the primary.
Oh yeah. What the hell's the point of barreling through it? Play the side quests.
Yeah, exactly. I'm taking my time in that game. I mean, what's the highest level you can get to?
Hell if I know. I don't even
know it's way higher than 23. And so, I mean, I've played that game a long time and I'm still at level 20.
See, the problem is that you can play the game for a year straight and then somehow get stuck for a month playing cards.
I liked the Gwent. I play Gwent.
Yeah. I mean, there's just so many things to do in the game.
Oh, it's very immersive to say the least. You know what? They don't have a Gwent standalone. I'm surprised about that. Did
you ever play Dragon Age 3, The Inquisition?
No, I know of it though. I looked into it, but yeah, is it good?
If you're a Dragon Age fan, yes. It's very immersive. It's very deep, and it has more zones than like you'll level up past the zones before you can play them all through. So literally, it makes you go back and play through, unless you want to play in zones that aren't going to give you experience. But
is that multiplayer?
It can be. It can be.
What if you don't want multi? I don't want a multiplayer thing.
It's mostly single player, but you can do it multi. I believe you can actually start your own server, so that if you just want like one other person to go with you, you can do that.
But can you play it without?
Oh yeah.
Well, the chat's interesting over here.
Oh shit! I haven't been paying attention.
What's the advantage of going solo over a party? If like I said, I play very sporadically, so I don't want to have anybody rely on me because my schedule is weird.
Oh yeah. Well, shit. I don't know how you find any time to do anything else. But
I don't know either. Oh my god, I'll tell you the amount of effort it takes to find guests, do the research on it, coordinate the stuff. I mean, Kyle does all the graphics, so he handles all that, and he does most of the scheduling. But it's still we have to prep for this stuff, And I like to go into these discussions not totally clueless.
Oh, why?
If I want to look like an idiot, I'd be a flat earther.
Oh well, shit. So going solo in Dragon Age is the best. If you haven't experienced the other Dragon Age games, I will say the very first Dragon Age game, even though it's kind of the graphics are a little cheesy, the storyline is one of the better games out there. It's on like Witcher 3 status. It's really, really, really good. It's a very addictive game. It's extremely linear until you get to Inquisition, and then Inquisition is very open world. But I
like the open world stuff.
Open world, Inquisition is very good. Plus, I don't know how your computer is, but you have to have a good rig to run it.
My computer's okay, but I got a really good graphics card at least.
Well, I mean, as long as you can run it,
I can run Witcher 3 just fine.
Then you'll be fine.
Like easily, not even a problem. You have to start off with Dragon 1, or can you just jump into 3 and if you want to
jump into 3? If you start from the very beginning of the games, it'll make more sense, but it won't matter that much because Dragon Age 3 kind of starts on its own storyline and all the games.
A lot like Witcher.
It does. The graphics are fantastic. The storylines, and that's an unfortunate thing. It didn't get a lot of press for it. The storylines in Dragon Age 3 are on the level with Witcher 3.
Okay. I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Hey, you got Bodie McBoatface in your live chat. Hi, Bodie McBoatface.
Hey, Bodie.
Not for long, it seems, though.
Yeah, you gotta go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think I'm actually going to take off as well. But it was.
I probably. How long have we been going? 3 hours?
Yeah, geez.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it was super awesome of you, Steve, to drop in on us. And thanks, Johnny and Lady, for having me in your stream.
Well, why don't you guys drop by my stuff? I have all these open hangouts, and anybody's welcome to join. I try to keep them down to a few people because I used to have the 10 manners, and it's hard.
Yeah.
But Johnny and you guys anybody's welcome to come by.
Well, I'm always watching for sure. Maybe I'll join.
I'm an introverted person, not unlike most of us on YouTube.
Well, the offer's always open because I like having new people come into my channel to introduce them to the rest of the Great Debate community and everything. So, if you have channels out there, I'm happy to promote them. I just hit 5,000 on my channel. And I've had that 5 years. And yet the Non Sequitur show is pushing 8,000, and that's only like 2 months old. How weird is that?
No, it's not weird at all.
It's how you hit the algorithm and how people take it and all that, and being regular.
There's a lot of factors. And while I like watching a lot of atheist and anti-religious content in general, it's not exactly the main thing that I personally tend to focus on and enough to ever make content. That's so I kind of.
What would be your thing you focus on?
Well, to some degree, religion does come in because basically anything that I see actually impacting the world around me in my life, people who are just arguing over whether or not there's some thing called a god out there doesn't tend to bother me nearly as much as when we start talking about the ones that are trying to bring it into a law.
I think those are more important. Yeah, if you're talking about promotion of secularism, then yeah, absolutely. I think the concept of God existing or not is nowhere near as important of keeping creationism out of school.
Yeah. And I just tend to get more into. Yeah, I just tend to get more into other areas and where I've seen conversations start falling apart and people start talking past each other.
You do know you have a horn on your head. You know that, right?
Magic, though. Magic.
It's a magical horn.
I'm just gonna go to hell playing the piano. That's all I know.
But anyways, thanks for letting me drop by. Like I said,
thank you for stopping in, man.
You're more than welcome to drop by anytime, dude.
Cool.
And I'm gonna go play some Witcher.
Have fun.
I'm gonna play some piano. And now it's down to you, me lady.
It's back down to the two of us.
Yeah. Anybody else want to come in? Come on. Nah, I better shut it down because nobody wants to watch it after it gets to be too long of a stream. So
yeah,
it's cut in half anyway. But thanks everybody for showing up. It was freaking fun. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was. It was fun.
Good night.
Night.